Black people, we've got to fight. Jean Petro, you see us. Oguo, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Zumbi, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Yes, Santa, why you see us? Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Bookman, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh,
we have to have the courage to construct our own reality. And that's what Garvey was talking about. Because he said he looked around, he didn't see what he thought should be there, and so what did he do? He didn't get depressed about it. He didn't get defeated about it. He said, I'm going to build the government that we need to have. Ooh, where do you get that kind of boldness from? So we got to go all the way back to Garvey, who said he would come again. He said he would be here with us, no matter how long it took. And I'm telling you that the way he comes back is in our work. Not honoring him in words, pomp and all of that stuff, but honoring him through doing what he did. How many of us had the courage to do that? The man took on the world for us and in our name. And then we come to Sodai. And in this presentation of the paradigm, I'm going to make this like what it is we want to reach. So Sodai is translated clear word in Dogana language. And I use it to mean that here we gain understanding. This is sight with understanding. And it is seeing beyond what just we think we see with this physical thing. It's seeing beyond that. And so we gain vision, because that's what vision is. With vision, you've got to be able to use the imagination informed by the African spirit. And Brother Amos, who I work very closely with, was a good friend of mine. He taught me, and he would talk about imagination. Image a nation. Do you see? But that's got to be part of vision. To be a visionary, you got to see beyond this box here. You got to see beyond the ma'afa. You got to see what is it that our people rightfully should have, and that's what Garvey did. Garvey had a vision.
Tendai Mwadi, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe. Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru. We give praises unto our great ancestors. Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African people. Greetings and welcome, brothers and sisters. Yes, indeed, we are live on Kimbunga Media once again. Shout out to all brothers and sisters locked in, locked on, wherever you are in the world. And we know, say, someone ono across the Atlantic. Yeah, someone on the clocks, them gone forward. So we hope that you're here, you know what I'm saying, on time, because you know, so the time they'll shift around them time of year. Yeah. So we give thanks, yeah, for your presence wherever you are in the world. And we are going to have an extremely important conversation. Before we get into that conversation, however, let me inform you and remind you of the fact that we are celebrating the centenary of Omowale Malcolm X, Papa Omowale Malcolm X, Papa Patrice Lumumba, and France Fanon, brothers and sisters, this year. And so there are many, many events happening with regards to celebrating those centenaries. However, in line with the centenaries of Omowale Malcolm X and Patrice Lumumba in particular, and seeking to inform our people about what is taking place in the Congo. I did promise you some weeks ago that the message that was delivered by myself at Alkebu-Lan's Shumida on Omowale and Lumumba, the makings of a revolution, will be coming your way very soon. So let me inform you of that right about now, brothers. Yes, indeed. Let me inform you of that right about now, brothers and sisters, and ensure that you are informed about the fact that the message, Omowale and Lumumba, the makers of a revolution, will be coming your way on this coming Sunday, Umoja Day, the 16th of March. From 12 p.m. UK time, and you can situate yourself anywhere else you are in the world from there, brothers and sisters. But, you know, playback is always a part of the thing as well. So feel free to check it out right there. Just want to let you know that this is going to be released on Umoja Day, this coming Sunday, the 16th of March from 12 p.m. GMT, and you can situate yourself from there. Apologies, brothers and sisters. The slightly later start than usual. We were dealing with some technicals behind the scenes, but you know how it go. We're here and we are ready. And so without further ado, brothers and sisters, because I know we're starting later than usual and later than scheduled, let me not hitch with the thing any further. Let me not delay things any further. And let me bring forward our special guest speaker for the evening's proceedings. Tendai Mwadi, greetings and welcome, brother leader Mbandaka.
Tendai Mwari, brother Shakara, Rumbidzo Kuna Mwari, Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru, give praises unto our great ancestors, for on their shoulders we stand, and without them we would not be in existence today. So we give thanks and praises. We say to Jah be the glory. It is an honor to be here with you this evening, brother Shakara, on this day of Nia. Yes, Nia Day. We don't say Thursday, do we, Shakara? We say Nia Day. And so we give thanks and praises for life and for the breath of life and for health and strength and daily food. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, brother leader. Tendai Mwari, brothers and sisters. Share the link far and wide and make sure you hit the like button as you come through. We're having this conversation because, as you know, there is a crisis in the Congo, and the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, plays a significant role in what is taking place in the Congo. Now, our presentation today is going to specifically be focusing on Kagame and its history, partly because there is so much backlash whenever you venture to suggest that Kagame is in fact presiding over a neo-colonial regime. And so today, the focus of our presentation is not Congo itself, but Kagame and his history, although I'm sure Congo will feature at some point, brothers and sisters, yeah? And so do stay tuned. We are going to be opening up the lines as well for you to interact with brother leader, ask your questions and make your comments, respectfully disagree. All of the above is welcome. And so we'll be engaging in all of that right about now. So I'm going to hand over at this point to brother leader to break it down. Brother leader, your presentation is ready to come up on the screen. You'll be controlling it yourself, but your presentation is ready to come up on the screen. So when you're ready for me to bring it up, just let me know, and I'll bring it up on the screen. All right? Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. Tendai Mwari, Tendai mwari, mwari mukulukulu, mwari mukulukulu, kuzai muzimu mukulu, kuzai muzimu mukulu, kuzai muzimu mukulu, tendai mwari, mwari kumburera Afrika, ngai sumuzire zitarayo, nzwai mitero yedu, isumuriayo, itumuriako, uyamuya, kumburere, uyamuya, muzbene, isumuriayo, itumuriako, tendai mwari, mwari Jack, God bless Africa. Lift up the name of Africa on high. Hear our humble prayers, O Mario Jah. We, the family of Africa, we, this family of Africa, come, Great Spirit, come. Come and bless us. Come, Great Spirit, come and be with us. We, the family of Africa, we, this family of Africa. Tendai mwari. Royal elders, queens and kings, princesses and princes of great Mama Africa, I bring greetings to you in the most precious, powerful, and bountiful name of our motherland, Alkebu-Lan, Mama Africa, in the sacred spirits of our most gracious ancestors, and in a prayer for oneness, hope, and prosperity for all African people upon the face of Mother Earth. Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Giving thanks and praises, beloved brothers and sisters, for the honor and for the blessing of being granted this platform this evening by our dear brother and son. And I'm going to make a special claim on this brother as my son. And I want to hail him and honor him and evoke showers of ancestral blessings upon him for the tremendous work that he has been doing for the African world to open and enhance the power of our uchat, our inner eye. They call it the third eye, but it really is the first eye because it is the all-seeing eye. It's the eye that sees beyond the mundane. It sees into the future. It sees, it penetrates obstacles. The uchat, as we seek to open our uchat and to expand the capacity of our uchat. Be assured, Brother Shakara, that you are making a significant and powerful contribution to that process. And I'm honored to be invited this evening to make an installment, and a very important one, because we are dealing with a vitally important subject matter. I'm going to ask you, Brother Shakara, in fact, just before I ask you to, in fact, if you could just put the promo flyer up, Brother Shakara. And I want to, as we move forward, just evoke the spirits of all the freedom fighters of the Congo, of the central region of the African continent, those who lived their lives and gave their lives for the liberation of the central region of our mother continent, so as to expand the power of the African spirit, the power of African sovereignty across the African continent and throughout the African world. We evoke, therefore, the spirits of Mama Kimpa Vita. We evoke, therefore, the spirit of Queen Nzinga. We evoke the spirit of Simon Kimbongo. We evoke the spirits of Papa Patrice Lumumba, Maurice Mpolo, Joseph Okito, who was slain alongside Papa Patrice Lumumba. We evoke the spirits of Pierre Mulele, warrior kings and warrior queens who sacrificed their lives for the liberation of the Congo in order to empower and liberate the entire African continent. We call upon these spirits and we make the pledge. We reaffirm the pledge that their blood, indeed the blood of our martyrs, will not be shed in vain. Through our work and our dedication, their blood will, in the words of Baba Kwame Ture, their blood will nourish the revolutionary soil, the soil of the revolution. We have said it. We have called it. Let it be so. Ashe, 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 oh, Amen Ra. It is done. Tendai Mwari. Tendai Mwari. Tendai Mwari. Brother Shakara, when you're ready, bless it. Tendai Mwari. Beloved brothers and sisters, I'm honored to come before you this evening to address you, the most beautiful, the most powerful people on the planet, if we only knew who we really are. It's an honor, beloved brothers and sisters. But even as we realize and we recognize how beautiful, how powerful we are as a people, how richly endowed we are by providence, we must also realize that for that same reason, we are the most coveted people on the planet. And as a result, we have been under attack for thousands of years. It behooves us, therefore, beloved brothers and sisters, to awaken to the reality of the times in which we are living, and to put right the course of history that has brought us to this wretched state that we are in. Put right the course of history that has dictated that Isfet must rule the planet. And Isfet is the opposite of Ma'at. It is all things false, all things untrue and deceitful and dishonest. Isfet, beloved brothers and sisters, Isfet is injustice. Isfet is unrighteousness. Isfet is disharmony, imbalance, selfishness and self-centeredness, and ultimately disorder. So we evoke the spirit of Ma'at this evening. Truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order. That is our aim, to restore Ma'at. Brother Shakara, can I have the promo flyer again, please? Okay. Am I controlling it or are you controlling it, Brother Shakara?
Okay. So you want the presentation, Brother Leader?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay.
Please.
So if you go to the presentation,
yeah, well,
you're controlling it. Yeah.
Okay.
So bring it up and then go into presentation mode, and I'll bring it up on the screen.
All right. Give thanks. Brothers and sisters, I've decided to do a presentation this evening using some props because, as I said, this is a very, very serious and important subject matter. Some of the information I'm going to share with you this evening has been touched upon, has been alluded to, but I want to crystallize the information. I want to make, after tonight, that certain truths, certain facts are indelible in our minds. Now, I can't see the presentation, Brother Shakara. I don't know if it's supposed to be up.
Yeah. You have to go to your PowerPoint and then put it in presentation mode, yeah? So you just go to your ordinary PowerPoint and then put it in presentation mode.
All right. Brother Shakara, just give me 1 minute, please.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
All right, brothers and sisters, we're just allowing Brother Leader to sort out the technicals behind the scenes, and then we're going to get into the situation properly. So we hope ones and ones are good. Let me just take a moment to shout out the chat. And I hope you're sharing the link far and wide, brothers and sisters. I hope you're sharing the link far and wide. I want to big up Set Imhotep over there in Trinidad. I want to big up Lee Clinton, your brother John. Is in the building. Patricia Palmer is in the building. Brother Roots is in the building. FK is in the building. And Melaman is most certainly in the building. Shout out to all of the silent viewers and silent listeners. And we look forward to you joining us as well, family. All right. If those who are on their way, and we look forward to you being able to come through live as well, because we're going to be opening up the lines very shortly. All right. Brother Leader, are we ready? So you're on mute, Brother Leader. Okay. 1 second. Okay, Brother Leader, I'm gonna bring you right now because you were in presentation mode before, so put it back in presentation mode. Okay. Sorry, brothers and sisters, we're just dealing with some technicals behind the scenes. Brother Leader, I'm going to bring you back on stage so we can work out what's going on here. All right. Okay. All right. So it looks like we're ready now. Are we ready?
Can you hear me, Brother Shakara?
I can hear you. Yep. And your presentation is here.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're good to go. So I'll hand over back to yourself now.
All right. Tendai Moari, giving thanks and praises. My sincerest apologies, brothers and sisters. Today we are dealing with the subject of the Kagame enigma. The Kagame enigma. Deadly politics of Africa. Deadly politics of Africa. Moving forward, beloved brothers and sisters, we always turn to the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey, for wisdom and for guidance. He is and remains a manifestation of Jehuti. We talk about Ma'at, but we don't talk about Tehuti or Jehuti enough, which means divine wisdom, knowledge, and understanding or overstanding, keen insight, exceptional perception, and authoritative utterance of the power of the word. Tendai Moari. So Papa Garvey says to us, intelligence rules the world and ignorance carries the burden. Intelligence rules the world and ignorance carries the burden. I want to burn that into our conscious thinking this evening. In fact, I want to burn that into our subconscious minds this evening. Intelligence rules the world and ignorance carries the burden. We will come back to that, beloved brothers and sisters. I'm going to move now to brother, a beautiful brother, a brother I have been following for a very long time. It's definitely over 10 years. And I want to think it's more than 50, it's about at least 15 years that I've been following the works of our beloved brother, Rotendo Matinyarare. And our brother is a leading Pan-Afrikanist, but recently apologized he traveled to Rwanda and apologized to President Kagame for calling him an agent of the West. Beloved brothers and sisters, I want to just play a short footage of our brother as he espoused his apology and his new analysis on Kagame and the Rwanda miracle as he sees it.
This is your very first time in Kigali, Rwanda. And if it's so, what's been your experience so far?
Yes, it's been my first time in Kigali. It's a place I never actually knew or thought I would ever be, but I'm here now. Kigali has been a mind-blowing experience. It has been a mind-opener as well, because I just never knew that African cities and African leaders can build something so organized, seamless, and more importantly, bring a people who had a fractious past together in the unity that I've seen here. So I've been blown away.
What surprised you the most?
To see a city that feels like an upmarket office park in most of the places that you go. Flowers everywhere, well-manicured lawns, flowers well kept as if they're kept by a botanist, trees, and clean streets. It's been mind-blowing. Yeah.
I guess a lot of people do say that, but you're also from a country that's known for an amazing capital, Harare. Any similarities, any differences?
I feel Harare has become shabby. Attention to detail has just basically left the city the moment it started having a new management or a new municipality. When I look at Kigali and then I look at Harare, I feel like Harare feels third world while Kigali feels first world. That is the first feeling I had when I came from the airport all the way here. There is an attention to detail in Kigali that is not available in Harare.
I'm quite surprised by your surprise, because I had thought that, you know, the idea of Kigali or Rwanda being this organized place was something that we pride ourselves on, and it's something that we've been pushing in terms of narratives. You're someone who obviously consumes a lot of information about Africa, and so I'm curious why you were surprised. I mean,
right.
It almost goes without saying that this is the way it is. Did you think that what was being presented to you was a falsehood? What exactly was going on? Why the surprise?
That's exactly, you've hit it on the nail. I thought that Kigali was a facade. And remember, let's make it clear that part and parcel of why I'm here is because I'm not as knowledgeable as I thought I was. I'm actually ignorant. And that's why I'm in Kigali today, to get a first-hand experience of what Kigali is all about, because I thought I knew what it was all about. And all along, I thought that President Kagame was a magician who was pulling a rabbit out of a hat, and that Kigali was a facade. And only for me to get to the ground and actually realize that you come from Kigali all the way to Gisenyi, and it's exactly the same attention to detail, beauty, back and front. Because generally a lot of places have a very beautiful front office and terrible back office. But here I've realized that the attention to detail is real. The meticulousness has something to do with the leadership that actually is meticulous in real terms. And that's what we begin to see. I was shocked by things like you get into a hotel, the attention to detail on the food, the taste, the presentation. All those are things I didn't expect because I thought it was a trick.
That's so, I mean, I guess, again, it's as someone who's, I guess,
to return 210,000 square kilometers, that is now South Africa, back to Lesotho, which would make Lesotho grow 4 times bigger than what it.
Oh, sorry.
This is your very first time in Kigali, Rwanda. And if it's so, what's been your experience so far?
Yes.
Everything okay, brother leader?
Sorry.
This is your very first time in Kigali, Rwanda. And if it's so, what's been your experience so far?
Yes, it's been my first time in Kigali. It's a place I never actually knew or thought I would ever be, but I'm here now. Kigali has been a mind-blowing experience. It has been a mind-opener as well, because I just never knew that African cities and African leaders can build something so organized, seamless, and more importantly, bring a people who had a fractious past together in the unity that I've seen here. So I've been blown away.
What surprised you the most?
To see a city that feels like an upmarket office park in most of the places that you go. Flowers everywhere, well-manicured lawns, flowers well kept as if they're kept by a botanist, trees, and clean streets. It's been mind-blowing. Yeah.
I guess a lot of people do say that, but you're also from a country that's known for an amazing capital, Harare. Any similarities, any differences?
I feel Harare has become shabby. Attention to detail has just basically left the city the moment it started having a new management or a new municipality. When I look at Kigali and then I look at Harare, I feel like Harare feels third world while Kigali feels first world. That is the first feeling I had when I came from the airport all the way here. There is an attention to detail in Kigali that is not available in Harare.
I'm quite surprised by your surprise, because I had thought that, you know, the idea of Kigali or Rwanda being this organized place was something that is something that we pride ourselves on, and it's something that we've been pushing in terms of narratives. You're someone who obviously consumes a lot of information about Africa, and so I'm curious why you were surprised. I mean,
right.
It almost goes without saying that this is the way it is. Did you think that what was being presented to you was a falsehood? What exactly was going on? Why the surprise?
That's exactly, you've hit it on the nail. I thought that Kigali was a facade, but let's make it clear that part and parcel of why I'm here is because I'm not as knowledgeable as I thought I was. I'm actually ignorant, and that's why I'm in Kigali today, to get a first-hand experience of what Kigali is all about, because I thought I knew what it was all about. And all along, I thought that President Kagame was a magician who was pulling a rabbit out of a hat, and that Kigali was a facade. And only for me to get to the ground and actually realize that you come from Kigali all the way to Gisenyi, and it's exactly the same attention to detail, beauty, back and front. Because generally a lot of places have a very beautiful front office and terrible back office. But here I've realized that the attention to detail is real. the meticulousness has something to do with the leadership that actually is meticulous in real terms. And that's what we begin to see. I was shocked by things like you get into a hotel, the attention to detail on the food, the taste, the presentation. All those are things I didn't expect because I thought it was a trick.
That's so, I mean, I guess, again, it's as someone who's, I guess,
to return 210,000 square kilometers, that is now South Africa, back to Lesotho, which would make Lesotho grow 4 times bigger than what it is today. So the fight that is happening in Eastern Congo is not too different from what is happening in South Africa, with Lesotho now starting to claim a very big chunk of South Africa back. But the Congolese that I've spoken to are saying, we don't want such a division. I found that unique and very interesting.
When do you plan to leave the country?
I don't want to leave the country.
When is your you obviously bought a return ticket?
Yes,
when
yes. I'll be leaving on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what you still have 3 more days here.
I've still got 3 more days here. And honestly speaking, there is not enough time to really interrogate what is really happening in Rwanda, learning about the Rwandan culture, learning about Rwanda. There's so much to see, so much to experience. I mean, we passed through the rainforest and the forest of
Nyungwe. That's the rainforest.
I would love to camp in Nyungwe for some time. I would love to go and see the gorillas in
the
Virunga Mountains. I'd love to climb a number of these mountains. I understand a partner of mine was telling me that I'm not fit enough, but I want to prove him wrong. But there's so much to do and so little time to do it in. But one thing I'll tell you is that this is not my last visit. I'll be here again.
Let me play a scenario game. So imagine you're here for the next 3 days and you get a chance to meet the president, President Kagame. This is a man that you've called, and I quote, an agent of the West. If you were to meet him and sit down with him, what would you say?
The first thing I'll do is apologize. Because first of all, you have to understand, by entering Rwanda, I am a man that has put myself on my knees at the mercy of the president, the people of Rwanda, and anyone, the military, the intelligence service. I have put myself on my knees and put myself in their hands to say, I am the man that has said all these things about you. And I was wrong. But choose to do with me what you choose. And since I got on the ground, all I've gotten was hospitality, kindness. Not a single person challenged me to say, you said this, why did you say it? So the first thing I would do if I was to sit next to President Kagame is to look the president in the eye and say, President, I got nothing else to say but to apologize. I was misguided. I didn't know better. I was ignorant. I was jealous. I was tribalist. And I'm here to learn. And I would like to learn everything that you can teach. Because one thing you need to know is, one of the reasons I was very critical of President Kagame is we admire President Kagame all over Africa. And there was a jealousy inside that said, number one, is there an African that can do this better than most of our leaders? And it sits okay in our hearts. Clearly, it didn't sit okay in my heart. But there was also a contradiction, because a great general who did some of the most amazing feats surrounding the French when they were fighting, trying to go and overthrow Mobutu, surrounding the French and holding them prisoner. How many leaders in Africa have the skill to do that? There was a jealousy in me that this leader with so much capacity is rumored to be a Western puppet. why can't we have such greatness and power being used to deliver the rest of Africa? It's only now that Rwanda is now under threat of sanctions. Rwanda is being blamed for the causing what is happening in Congo and funding M23, when the entire world and the intelligence services of the entire world know that it's not true. Now I'm beginning to wonder, is this really a Western puppet, or is actually an African hero that they now want to destroy because of his capacity? For instance, when he was able to reach and
Can you hear me, Brother Shakara?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Tendai Mwari. So, is Kagame a Western puppet or an African hero? I want to be gentle with our brother, Brother Rotundo Matiniarare. And I want to share with you, beloved brothers and sisters, that it is my understanding that at some point our brother felt threatened by the Kagame regime, that he had been issued death threats. I've heard that, beloved brothers and sisters, and I believe there is footage on YouTube where he alludes to that, I believe. Now, brothers and sisters, this is a treacherous world that we're in, and a treacherous fight that we are in, and there are realities that we have to grapple with. But I want to make a declaration on the back of what appears to be our brother's transformation, that if you ever hear me apologizing to Paul Kagame, and if you ever hear me declaring that I have had a new revelation, and I see Paul Kagame, I see the wonders of Paul Kagame and the tremendous work he's doing in Rwanda, know that they have got to me. No, beloved brothers and sisters, they have gotten to me, whether by death threats or they've bought me off. Know that I have been compromised, beloved brothers and sisters. And as we move forward, I want to evoke the wisdom of our ancestors by virtue of the teachings of another great brother among us, who, to the best of my knowledge, has not been compromised. Brother Marara Maponga. Many of you might know of him and his works. And he has shared with us some ancestral teachings. One, that when the wet wood gets burnt, the dry wood is in trouble. When the wet wood gets burnt, the dry wood is in trouble. We're going to unravel that in a moment. And he also shares with us ancestral wisdom that when you go hunting with dogs, you entertain them with the bones of the hunt, so you can enjoy the meat. I want to break that down a little bit for us, brothers and sisters. When the wet wood gets burnt, the dry wood is in trouble. Wet wood doesn't get burnt. But this is not about wood, whether wet or dry. These are metaphors, and we ought to use them, beloved brothers and sisters, as symbols to point us to our own realities and to enable us to analyze our own situation. And so if the wet wood and the dry wood analogy is relevant to us as African people, then I see that the wet wood relates to Africans who are of a Pan-African consciousness, a revolutionary zeal. We are the wet wood that does not get burnt. You have to, first of all, the wet wood, the water has to be evaporated. The water in the wet wood has to lose its water in order for it to be threatened by the fire. So the wet wood becomes the protector of the dry wood. If we as Africans, conscious, revolutionary Africans, if we are the wet wood, then we have a responsibility to stay wet so that the dry wood is protected. Those among us who do not have that consciousness, but who are Africans anyway and deserving of protection, we become the protectors. We are the wet wood. And only when we get burnt, when we lose our moisture, will the dry wood be threatened? Will the masses of the people be threatened? The moisture is our African consciousness. The moisture is our Tehuti wisdom, our keen insight, our capacity for keen insight and exceptional perception. When we lose that, beloved brothers and sisters, not only us as the conscious, but the masses of our people become vulnerable to destruction. We cannot afford to lose our moisture, our revolutionary moisture. When you go hunting with dogs, you entertain them with the bones of the hunt so you can enjoy the meat. Where are we as revolutionary? Where are we as conscious, liberated Africans in this metaphor? Well, beloved brothers and sisters, we are neither the hunter nor the dog the hunting dog who is being entertained with the bones. We are the dogs who are in our natural habitat, who have not been trained, who have not been domesticated, who do our own hunting for meat, so that we are not subjected to being entertained with the bones. We are not in this analogy, beloved brothers and sisters. You have to read between the lines to find us. We are in the subtext, beloved brothers and sisters. We are the dogs who have not been denatured. And so, with that backdrop of ancestral wisdom, tying that in with Papa Garvey's counsel at the beginning of my presentation, intelligence rules the world and ignorance carries the burden. We move forward. A few weeks ago, another beloved brother, a brilliant brother on so many levels in the African world community, who has blessed us so abundantly with his knowledge, with his talents, shared with us his analysis of the KAGAME enigma. And he, beloved brothers and sisters, shared with us that he had traveled to Rwanda to witness for himself what is taking place in Rwanda, and in order to make an accurate analysis of Kagame and what he means to us as African people. And he shared with us a very important maxim. If you really want to know a man, live in his house. I bear witness that that is true. But it is equally true to say, if you really want to know a man, or a woman for that matter, you know a man or a woman by the friends that they keep. Back home we say by the company them keep. But I use the word friends here deliberately, beloved brothers and sisters. You know a man or a woman by the friends they keep. So who are the friends of Paul Kagame. And I wonder if when our brother Heru went to Rwanda, I wonder if he saw any of the friends that I'm about to introduce to you, some of whom were alluded to in previous brilliant shows that Shakara has hosted on this media platform. Let's start with Tony Blair. Look at that eye contact, beloved brothers and sisters. That's what you call true admiration, mutual admiration, beloved brothers and sisters. Tony Blair has publicly and more than once referred to Paul Kagame as my great friend and visionary. My great friend and visionary. This is Tony Blair speaking about Paul Kagame. Now, as Shakara would say, I won't name Tony Blair. I won't name Tony Blair. You know who Tony Blair is? That disgraced politician who was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom between 1997, so-called, and 27, 10 years, who disgraced himself before the world and before the British public, to the point that his popularity plummeted, which was very high before the Iraq war. His population plummeted, his popularity, plummeted because he was exposed for lying, as most people would put it, about the weapons of mass destruction that Saddam Hussein in Iraq was supposed to have possessed. And because of the chicanery that he engaged in, nationally and internationally, involving a dodgy dossier, as they call it, the thesis of a university graduate that was doctored in order to look like an intelligence document on the situation in Iraq, to give the impression that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction that could be deployed within 45 minutes and therefore represented a dangerous threat internationally. Tony Blair, beloved brothers and sisters. And let's look at this word friend in geopolitical terms. In geopolitical terms, brothers and sisters, a friend doesn't mean someone that we are emotionally disposed to in a favorable manner or necessarily have a positive social relationship with. Friend, as the saying goes, beloved brothers and sisters, in politics, in global geopolitics, there are no permanent friends. I think it was Henry Kissinger who first said these words. There are no permanent friends, just permanent interests. So when Tony Blair refers to Paul Kagame in world politics as a friend, what he's actually saying is that we share interests. When he refers to him as a visionary, it means he shares my worldview, perspective, and he shares my global agenda. We must understand this, beloved brothers and sisters, as we move forward. Friends of Paul Kagame we're looking at. The Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. Tony Blair is the director of an institute which he founded. Firstly, he founded the Afrikan governance initiative, and then merged that with 2 other charities that he had to become the Institute for Global Change in 2016. And in context with the Institute for Global Change, he is the quote-unquote advisor to Paul Kagame and the Rwanda's government. And I want us to understand, beloved brothers and sisters, that the Institute for Global Change is a globalist institution. We'll come back to that concept of globalism or globalization. But they have in Rwanda the Institute for Global Change has advisors in every major government department in Rwanda. In effect, they run Rwanda. Tony Blair is the neo-colonial governor of Rwanda. He spends a lot of time going and coming from Rwanda, but he has his consultants permanently employed to the tune of £150,000 per year or more, running the departments, the major departments of the Rwandan government. Check it out yourself, beloved brothers and sisters. Don't take my word for it. Here are some words of Tony Blair in relation to Rwanda and Paul Kagame. Let us not give up on a country, Rwanda, that's seen the most remarkable progress over the last few years, and where the aid money that we spend is probably pound for pound, dollar for dollar, the best aid money you could spend. Listen to those words, beloved brothers and sisters. Listen to those words. The best aid money, pound for pound, dollar for dollar. The money we're spending in Rwanda is the best that money can buy. What we get from Rwanda and Paul Kagame is the best that money can buy. What is he praising? What is he, beloved brothers and sisters, giving such high accolades to? Rwanda being a beacon of revolutionary Pan-Afrikanism? Kagame being a liberator of African people? Is that why Tony Blair, and he didn't just say pound for pound, he said pound for pound, dollar for dollar. So the British and the Americans are pumping pounds and dollars into Rwanda. Is that because Paul Kagame and the Rwanda regime is working assiduously for the liberation of Rwanda and the liberation of the African continent and the liberation of African people around the world? Do we know what Pan-Afrikanism means? Pan-Afrikanism, using the wisdom of Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, with some of our own wordings as a movement, Pan-Afrikanism is the total liberation and unification of Africa and all African people. Now, the Osagyefo would say under scientific socialism. We in the Alkebu-Lan Revivalist movement say under an autonomous Maatian world system. The total liberation and unification of Africa and all African people under a autonomous, which is another way of saying sovereign, Maatian world system. Now, is that what Paul Kagame is working towards in Rwanda? Is that what Tony Blair is cheering? And by the way, That picture of Tony Blair, painfully to say, was taken in Sierra Leone in 2002 when he was, it burns my heart to say this, brothers and sisters, installed as a paramount chief for bringing freedom and peace to Sierra Leone. Beloved brothers and sisters, if we know the truth about the history of Sierra Leone, we will know that Tony Blair's role, indeed, the role of the British government, was the complete opposite. In fact, the war and the carnage was incited by their oppressive, genocidal behavior towards our people, which was being resisted. But that's another subject for another time. Moving on, beloved brothers and sisters. Not only is Tony Blair a defender of Paul Kagame, but Boris Johnson, racist Boris Johnson, who talked about the Queen of Britain loving the Commonwealth, because when she goes to the Commonwealth countries in Africa or wherever, she is greeted with smiling pickaninnies, flag-waving pickaninnies. And some comment he made about African people with their the term slips me at the moment. Their wide melon something smile. Boris Johnson, in an article in the Independent on the 14th of April 2022, the title of that article was "Johnson Defends Rwanda After Concerns Over Dismal Human Rights Record." Think about it, beloved brothers and sisters. Why would Boris Johnson be defending this right-wingist, this person who is right, hard right in British politics, is defending Rwanda, Kagame, because Kagame is a revolutionary, a Pan-Afrikanist? Let's talk a little bit about the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. Here's their mission: equipping leaders and governments for a global future, beloved brothers and sisters, by shaping the debate. Think about the words that are being used here, beloved brothers and sisters. Equipping leaders and governments, and remember, this started on the African continent. And the aim is to equip leaders and governments. Remember, it started with the African African Governance Initiative in 2009, equipping leaders and governments for a global future by shaping the debate and offering expert advice. We aim to help political leaders build open, inclusive, prosperous societies in an increasingly interconnected, and I put in brackets, globalized world. And in fact, previously, if you go on the website now, you will see the word interconnected. But originally, the word globalized was in the place of the word interconnected. But this is about globalization. This is about the new world order. This is about a clandestine maneuvering to establish a one world government that has dominion over the entire planet, using their multinational corporations as a form of soft power to conquer nations' economies and using the military to conquer nations physically if we will not be malleable enough to be conquered by the soft power or the not so soft power of the multinational corporations. They want to shape the debate, shape the way we think, shape the way we view and interpret the world and our reality as a people. Policy features from populist leadership. Listen to the words. From populist leadership to public protests, our current political landscape is marked by extremism with us and them attitudes. Now, by the way, let me just say that these open and closed quotation marks, etc., are added. So it's added by myself, beloved brothers and sisters, and the highlights and so on are my doing. They don't appear like that in the original document. So from populist leadership to public protests, our current political landscape is marked by extremism with us and them attitudes pervading debate on the global basis. Let's look at that a little bit closer, beloved brothers and sisters. Populist leadership. That's leadership that's endorsed by the masses of our people. And public protests, that's our people rising up against the neo-colonial, neoliberal agenda that is being imposed upon us, causing great poverty and destitution all over the African world. That's seen as a threat. That is characterized as extremism in context with this document. You got to understand, who is Tony Blair and his institute writing to? He's not speaking to you and me. He's not speaking to the governments of Africa. He's speaking to his would-be financiers that are going to pump money into this project. And they're speaking their language. They're speaking their language, beloved brothers and sisters, at which they are masters. Policy features. Alongside this, we're living in an unprecedented era of technological progression, one that offers renewed prosperity and connection, but which also presents challenges that threaten future division. That is, anything that diverts, beloved, from their perspective of the world, their agenda, is a threat, is a challenge. But they have the solution, beloved brothers and sisters. Policy features, further policy features. Our work is necessarily bold, but it's practical too. Shaping the debate. Shaping the debate. Is that why some of us are so confused now about Kagame and Rwanda? Because we have allowed them to shape the debate. And offering a program that is both radical and realistic, fully cognizant of the modern world and its present direction, and of the size of steps necessary to achieve the change we want to see. The change we want to see. This is globalist language. Globalist language, beloved brothers and sisters, that has a particular worldview, has a particular world order. Let us remember in 1991, George Bush Sr. making that speech in relation to the invasion or the impending invasion of Iraq in 1991. He says, what is at stake is not just one small country, it is a big idea, a new world order. What did Papa Garvey say to us? God made man Lord of creation, gave him possession and ownership of the whole of the world. And you have been so darn lazy that you have allowed the other fellow to run away with the whole world, and now he's bluffing you and telling you that the world belongs to him and that you have no part in it. We have allowed these devils to run away with the whole world and bluffing us and telling us that the world, including our motherland, our natural resources, including our minds, our souls, our bodies, because he has taken that from us as well. That's why we can't see clearly. We can't see straight. Because we've allowed him to run away with the whole world. Because he's telling us that the world belongs to him and that we have no part in it. Because he has dominated us with his institutions. What did Baba John Henry Clark teach us? He taught us that people rise or fall in the context of institutions. He taught us that people never rise any other way. They never fall for any other reason. What did Papa Garvey teach us? Papa Garvey told us we must never allow anyone to assume executive control over our affairs. What is Tony Blair and the Institute for Global Change doing in Rwanda? What is Tony Blair and his Institute for Global Change doing in 15 African countries? It might even be more by now, beloved brothers and sisters. Rwanda, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Gambia, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Guinea, Kenya, Togo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mozambique, Tanzania, Zambia. Beloved brothers and sisters, they infiltrated Tanzania after Pombo Magufuli died. They were not there before he died. But no sooner he died, beloved brothers and sisters, and we have to question how yet another free-thinking African challenging Euro-American imperialism on the African continent dies in office, dies a sudden death in office. We have to question that. And then no sooner he dies, Tony Blair and the Institute for Global Change is in Tanzania. Who are the friends of Paul Kagame? You know a man or woman by the friends they keep. Do you not, beloved brothers and sisters? And those of us who go to Rwanda, those of us who go to the house of Kagame, do we see everything? Do we see Tony Blair? Do we see his consultants in the leading institutions of government controlling things? Do we see Bill Clinton? Do we see Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton, another eerie, devilish character of the worst kind, who, if we remember Black Hawk Down 1993 on the African continent, invasion of the Sudan and the murdering of our people in the Sudan, if we remember the bombing that happened under Clinton, the bombing of the Al-Shifa pharmaceutical manufacturing plant, that the Clinton government lied and said was manufacturing weapons of mass destruction. The government of Sudan, for all its shortcomings and all its faults, recognizing that the people, our ordinary people on the ground, could not afford the pharmaceutics to battle malaria, yellow fever, and other diseases ravishing the country, got their pharmacists to manufacture at affordable rates pharmaceutics that was curing our people. Malaria was reduced significantly, was being brought under control. Yellow fever and other diseases that the country was tackling. And Bill Clinton sent his forces in and bombed the Al-Shifa factory, killing our people and destroying the capacity that was created in that country to manufacture their own medicines, to treat their own ailments. 1998. And this is the devil who is standing here now. He's complimenting Paul Kagame. He says Paul Kagame is one of the greatest leaders of our time. That's quite an accolade. One of the greatest leaders. Bill Clinton rates Paul Kagame as one of the greatest leaders of our time, and we are confused about whether Paul Kagame is an agent of Euro-American imperialism or whether he is indeed a freedom fighter, a Pan-Afrikanist. Bill Clinton, who gave Paul Kagame a Global Citizens Award. Global. It means in the eyes of us globalists, you are an asset. Why else would he give him a Global Citizen Award in 2009? Because he's a Pan-Afrikanist? Because he's a revolutionary? Because he's an African freedom fighter? Since when European oppressors applaud and award African freedom fighters? No, they normally kill them, neutralize them, alienate them, subject them to vicious propaganda. George Bush is a friend of Paul Kagame. I'm not making this up, beloved brothers and sisters. I'm bringing to you their own words. I'm bringing to you their own words, beloved, because I want to end the confusion. I'm bringing it to you from the horse's mouth. George Bush visited Rwanda in February 2008, and these were his overtures to Kagame. I assure you, you have a steady friend, that goddamn word again, friend, in the United States. That means we recognize that we have shared interests with you. That's what friend means. Shared interests. He says we've trained more than 7,000 Rwandan peacekeepers. Those of you who want to throw up all kinds of fagash and confusion about whether the British government, the European governments are funding Paul Kagame, they're telling the world. What did Blair say? Pound for pound, dollar for dollar, This is the best that money can buy. They're telling us, and we're still confused. Ignorance rules the world, but intelligence intelligence rules the world. See, I'm getting confused now, beloved brothers and sisters. Because we're walking on our heads. We're walking on our heads and we're talking from our toes, beloved brothers and sisters. Sometimes I wonder if we get confused because we want to be confused. Because somehow it's a comfort zone for us. We don't have to deal with the harsh realities of having to confront the enemy. And it is Mama Marimba Ani. I remember her saying, it is a formidable enemy. It is an enemy, a formidable enemy, she said. And is it our fear of the vicious, evil, wicked nature of the enemy and what we know they will do to us? In some way, you have my sympathy, beloved brothers and sisters, but that's not good enough. We have to think about our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and those unborn. And we have a duty and a responsibility to sacrifice whatever we have to sacrifice to create a safe world for them to be brought into. More from George Bush. George Bush, you know. George Bush, who was president of America. Tony Blair partner in crime around the Iraq war, the lies that they peddle to justify going to war and bombing people and destroying a whole nation. Not to mention how they have continued to ravage the African continent. He says we provided $17 million to equip and transport these forces into Darfur. That's the 7,000 that they've trained into Darfur. This is when they were maneuvering in Sudan and creating havoc in Sudan, beloved brothers and sisters, in order to facilitate or orchestrate that breakaway that resulted in South Sudan and Sudan. That was America and the British government. That was their maneuver. That was their deceitful, underhanded work. So anyone wants to know whether they've been funding Kagame's, and they say 7,000, that's just Darfur. And he said more than 7,000. More than 7,000 could be 700,000. We don't know. White man speak with forked tongue. We should know that by now. We've been under the cosh with these people for long enough. We've been in the abyss of the Ma'afa, Mama Marimba Ani. The colossal destruction of African humanity under the vicious and evil and fiendish schemes of these people. The United States and Rwanda are cooperating, a lovely word, cooperating to assure long-term stability in Eastern Congo. Let me read that again, Funo, because someone will wonder if Kagame if him really fund the M23 and if America is funding Kagame to fund the M23. Hear it from the horse's mouth. The United States and Rwanda are cooperating to assure long-term stability. Stability. We could come back to that. In the Eastern Congo, where is the unrest now? What's happening in the Eastern Congo, beloved brothers and sisters? It's been happening for a long time. Here is the evidence. The American government is working with the Rwandan government, cooperating in a long-term strategy. Now, they use the word stability. That's the word they use in Iraq. Look at the state of Iraq. That's the word that they use in Afghanistan. Look at the state of Afghanistan. That's the word they use in Libya. Look at the state of Libya. That's the word they use in Syria. Look at the state of Syria. The peacekeeping forces are in all of these places, or have been in all of these places, to bring about stability. Long-term plan to bring about stability. Cooperating with this one, cooperating with that one. Mama Marimba Annie, in her wisdom, teaches us about the rhetorical ethics, where they use euphemism to mask their aggression. Listen to our spiritual mother. She knows what she's talking about. Rwanda. Kagame has anglicized Rwandan culture. What do I mean by that? Rwanda has been transformed from a so-called francophone, French-speaking, French official language, French being the language of instruction in the schools and the colleges and the universities of Rwanda. They have now transformed that. They've taken Rwanda through a transformation process, and now it is becoming an has become an Anglophone country, where English is now an official language in Rwanda since Kagame became president. English is now the language of instruction, not French anymore. English is the language of instruction in Rwanda. And they've taken the unusual step, in fact, the unprecedented step of joining the British Commonwealth in 2009. Now, they don't call it the British Commonwealth anymore. They call it the Commonwealth of Nations. But it's the British Commonwealth. Trust me, beloved brothers and sisters. But they want to take out the word British to hide the fact that it's a neo-colonial relic. Now, it's one thing. It's one thing lifting your nation out of colonialism and agreeing to join in with an international institution with your former colonial, so-called colonial master. That is degrading enough. But what is even more ignominious is when, without that history, you volunteer to join the club. This revolutionary Pan-Afrikanist has volunteered to join this club, this relic of British imperialism. Who are the friends of Paul Kagame? The British government. Not just this individual or that individual. He's loved by the British government. Hence, the Rwanda refugee plan, sending refugees to Rwanda. Think about that, beloved brothers and sisters. Think about that. Why would the British government send their refugees to Rwanda? Why Rwanda? Because Rwanda is a colony, in effect, a colony of Britain. It's a neo-colony, beloved brothers and sisters. And as I say to everyone all the time, neo-colonialism is colonialism. Neo means new. It's a new form of colonialism, but the object is the same. the outcome is the same. Donald Trump
Okay, brothers and sisters, brother leader appears to have frozen, so we're going to try and bring him back. Do stay tuned, yeah, do stay tuned. You know these things does go on, brothers and sisters. Last time when we was on with brother Kambale Musavuli, you know, we was having beer problem all about the place, problem all the while and forever and ever and can't done. And so we know these things do go on, but we'll try and get brother leader back very shortly, brothers and sisters, so do stay tuned. Bigging up Scattered Minds in the building. Bigging up Lumqua. Bigging up Rosie Rose. Much appreciated. Sister Unduko is in the building. Sister Unduko is in the building. Want to big up yourself. Brother Roots is in the building. Yeah, man. And big up all the silent listeners. You know what I mean? And also want to big up the MI5 and the MI6 and the FBI and the CIA and the Kremlin. You know what I mean? Big up on yourself. Because we know I watch the thing too. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have to just know that, you know, them people, them out all about the place, you know what I mean? And that's how the thing go. Also want to remind you, brothers and sisters, that you should tune in this coming Umoja Day Sunday for Omowale and Lumumba, honoring these two great men in the centennial year of their birth, brothers and sisters. And this is a message in which we delve into the Congo crisis of the 1960s, and how both men, Papa Patrice Lumumba and Papa Omowale Malcolm X, were dealing and addressing that crisis, brothers and sisters, in the 1960s. Yeah, bearing in mind that both men were assassinated, one in the year 1961, in January of 1961, that's Papa Patrice Lumumba, and the other, Papa Omowale Malcolm X, was assassinated in the year 1965, February of 1965. And so we delve into their relationship to each other by looking at the Congo crisis, yeah, and how Africans around the world, under the leadership of these two great men, were responding to that particular crisis, brothers and sisters. So we encourage you to tune in. 12 p.m. this coming on Umoja Day, Sunday, the 16th of March, 12 p.m. GMT, and you can situate yourself anywhere you are in the world from there. And if you're upon, you know, the other side of the world and 12 p.m. too early, because it's got 7 o'clock and all them thing there, where you there, feel free to just tune in when you get up, brothers and sisters. Tune in when you rise up. And the video will still be there for you to watch. So are unaware, there's a snippet of me speaking on Kagame in relation to the fact that many Pan-Afrikanists have been supporting this man, and I was looking out against it, and really that particular clip comes from that particular message. And so ones have been contacting me, asking me for the full thing. So we're finally releasing it now, brothers and sisters. So do stay tuned. We will bring it to you. We're still awaiting brother leader's return. For those who are just joining us, our subject is the Kagame Enigma, Deadly Politics of Africa, and brother leader has been exploring the friends of Kagame, those who Kagame calls his friends, and those who call Kagame for them friend. And not just the individuals, but their institutions, whether they be governments or multinational, transnational advisory organizations to governments, brothers and sisters. Yes, indeed, it's necessary for us to know these relationships. And one of the things that Brother Leader has highlighted here today is the fact that the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change has advisors all up and throughout the government of Rwanda, and in every significant department of the government of Rwanda. Big up all that issue in the building. Yeah, man, the Kremlin I watch too. You have to know, so the Kremlin I go. The Kremlin there, you You know what I mean? Yeah, the Kremlin. I watched the thing too. You know what I mean? That's just the reality of the situation. You know. Right. What was I saying? Yes, that the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change has advisors all up and through the Kagame government. Yeah, and so we're emphasizing the fact that the Rwanda government is very much tied in with the Western governmental and corporate elite. Yes, indeed, brothers and sisters. We have to understand that, and we have to understand what that means. Yeah. I also want to inform you that leading up to the birthday of Papa Omowale Malcolm X on the 19th of May, we will be, from April, once a week, be releasing some form of content on Papa Omowale Malcolm X. Yeah, at least once a week. And so we're putting together a very beautiful series of interviews and presentations that are going to elucidate different aspects of the life and the legacy and the work of Papa Omowale Malcolm X. And I promise you, I don't care how deep your knowledge is on the man and his work, but I promise you that there'll be something to learn for everyone watching right now. Everybody watching right now will learn something from the shows, the presentations, and the interviews that we are preparing for that series. And so that will begin in the first week of April. For example, I recently had the pleasure of recording with a good brother, who currently lives in Guinea-Bissau. I'll introduce his name to you closer to time. But looking at the legacy of Omowale Malcolm X and the Organization of Afro-American Unity, the OAAU, with the Revolutionary Action Movement and the Republic of New Africa. And many people who have studied the man deeply would know those things somewhat, but may not know the realities of that work in depth and know of the level of organizing that went into, for example, Papa Omowale Malcolm X visiting the African continent and all of the different organizations, all of the different levels of organizing that went into that particular visit. Yeah. And so do tune in. I have some other agreements that I'm not going to get into right now, but we're going to bring it all to you. I should also say that I am in the process of collaborating with some other brothers and sisters to organize a centenary celebration for Papa Patrice Lumumba in London in July. Papa Patrice Lumumba was born on the 2nd of July, brothers and sisters. And so we're going to be getting, having a celebration of Papa Patrice Lumumba as well. But for those of you who are interested in the celebration of life for the centenary of Omowale Malcolm X, we are going to be celebrating him on the 17th of May. His actual birthday is the 19th of May. So this is the closest Emmanuel Day Saturday to his birthday. And so that's this is going to be taking place. Oops. I'm sharing the wrong thing with you. I don't want to put out no false information. Yeah. But that was a preview. The flyer, brothers and sisters, I just realized that there's some information that has changed. Yes, yeah, so I need to bring that back to you at another point in time. But brothers and sisters, significant things are going on. And so we're going to be celebrating the life of Omowale Malcolm X on the 17th of May for all the London Massive. And there are things happening all around the world, brothers and sisters. Yeah, all around the world celebrating the Omowale Malcolm X in May. Yeah, so wherever you are, check what's happening in your area, your region, and we'll see what's taking place. I will also use this time. We're still waiting for Brother Leader to return. It looks like the gremlins, the techway internet, but we'll get him back shortly. But if you do have a question for Brother Leader, please type it in the chat now. Yeah, we are going to be interacting. We're going to also share the link shortly so you can come live and interact with Brother Leader, ask questions, respectfully disagree, whatever you want to do. But just please at Kimbunga Media so I know that it's a question that you want me to read out or a comment that you want me to read out. And also, if you're looking to come live, when I share the link, you'll be able to do so. So don't worry about that. Yeah, we'll make sure that you're able to come true, brothers and sisters. All right. Now, Brother Leader is not quite back yet, so I may just need to check in and see what I go on. So bear with me if I need to do that. But yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna try and bear with it for a second. You know what I mean? But yeah. Feel free to type in the chat, by the way, anything that you've learned so far, so far during the presentation. I would appreciate that too. But as I said, you got a question or a comment, I'm going to collect them now. So when Brother Leader is finished, I can get to them immediately. Yeah. So feel free to type your questions or your comments in the chat, and we'll come to you once the floor is open and once Brother Leader has concluded this particular presentation. And yeah, we'll get into it a bit more, but it is likely that there'll be a part 2, yeah, to this, because we probably won't get through everything today. And it's such an important issue that Africans are concerned about all around the world. You know, I've been, like I said, my social media has been flooded with Kagame propagandists. You know, man, I've even tried to refer to me as a apologist for genocide. Some serious accusations are going on when you criticize Paul Kagame, brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have to address these things properly and get into the details. And you also should know that my follow-up conversation with Brother Heru Ofori Atta. Oh, I thought I had uploaded that flyer already. Let me get that flyer uploaded for you. No, it's not uploaded. But we're going to be looking at we're going to be speaking to Brother Heru Ofori Atta, who has already been mentioned in his presentation already, on the 4th of April, brothers and sisters. And so we're going to have a follow-up conversation, as we promised you that we would, getting into some of the details that we addressed some of the details of the issues that we addressed in our previous conversation in greater detail. Yeah, we're going to break it down, and that one will be focused more specifically on the Congo as well. I am also in the process of planning a show whereby we're going to be speaking to brothers and sisters who are parts and leading members of organizations on the ground in the Congo, trying to address the situation in the Congo from various different perspectives. And so that is happening, that is being pulled together as we speak, brothers and sisters. I'm properly looking forward to that show, because it's very important that we hear from the voices of our people on the ground. I also want to let you know about a very special interview that we are about to be releasing on the 21st, brothers and sisters, on the 21st of April. Sorry, on the 21st of March, yeah? And that will feature, we're going to be going live to Haiti. Yes, indeed, brothers and sisters, to speak to our Mama Baina Bello. And if you know, you know. If you don't know, you better get to know about Mama Baina Bello. Shout out to Sister Kenya, Malinke Mansare, and Sister ERA of the African Survival Initiative, and of Basani, yeah? Sorry, African Survival, African State of Emergency Collective, the Ashe Collective, brothers and sisters. And they have interviewed our Mama Baina Bello. They ask her about everything from Wagwan in Haiti, right, to experience having visited every country in West Africa. And so the African State of Emergency Collective is really designed to address our repatriation to Mama Africa and the challenges that come with that, So please, do tune in once again on the 21st, brothers and sisters, of March. The 21st of March. That's being released at 7 p.m. EST. So it's being released especially for the benefit and the convenience of our brothers and sisters across the Atlantic, in the Caribbean, in the United States, in Canada. For those of us in the UK, that 7 p.m. is 12 o'clock them time there. Well, it's actually 11 Yeah, it's actually 11 because our clocks over here in the UK go forward on the 30th of March, and the clock limit in America done gone forward already. So EST is now 4 hours behind GMT. Yeah, and then we're going at GMT +1. Yeah, so brothers and sisters, that's 11 p.m. UK time and 7 p.m. EST. 21st of March, Mama Baina Bello. All right, brothers and sisters. Okay. Let me see if your questions have come in. Check out. We're still waiting for the return of Brother Leader. Rosie Rose said, wow, yes, we're speaking to Mama Baina Bello. So do stay tuned. You know, we're going to bring her forward for the Ola Ono. Right, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna after you know, take a little recess and go check in on Brother Leader. But as I said, in the meantime, between time, feel free to fling your questions here in the chat and at Kimbonga Media as you do, and we'll make sure that we get to them shortly. Okay. I am going to just check in and see what the issue is so that at least I can update you on Wagwan. So bear with me while I go and check out what is the deal with Brother Leader. And so I'll be back with you shortly, brothers and sisters. In the meantime, you can take in some Omawale Malcolm X vibrations from the eye, and it goes a little something like this. Oh, nice and beautiful. All right, be back shortly, brothers and sisters. Wait there. Hold on there. Make sure I did everything correctly a while ago, because sometimes, you know, you forget one step and it don't. All right, yeah, everything was done correctly. Okay, so we're going to come through again. Apologies for this, brothers and sisters. This is how it goes sometimes. You know, when you're doing live shows, technical things happen. But we're going to make sure that we bring Brother Leader back to you shortly. And as soon as we can, we will be back with you, okay? So bear with us, and we'll be back shortly. Peace and blessings.
Today, we're going to have a message delivered by one of our brothers in the movement who, I would say without shadow of a doubt, imbibes the spirit of Omawale Malcolm X. The work that he does in this community, has done and continues to do, and I'm sure will continue to do, is no doubt inspired by the works. He's very well read. And of course, there's a lot of material out there on Omawale Malcolm X, which we're just going to get a snippet, just a snippet, because there's no way in half an hour you can really get the true essence or everything you need to know about Omawale Malcolm X. But I'm sure, because he's delivered for us on many, many occasions, and I think everyone who has heard him deliver has always gone away feeling enlightened and informed. There's always something new, and the way that our brother delivers is in a way that, you know, Malcolm X is very clear about the message that he was trying to portray or convey, rather. And our brother Shakara Mbandaka is very much the same. So without further ado, I want you to put your hands and hearts together as a call forward our brother Tafazwa Shakara Mbandaka for our Shamira Omawale Malcolm X message. Yeah.
Tanamwari. Be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe. Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru. Give praises unto our great ancestors, because our ancestors are worthy to be praised. Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African people. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Tenamwari.
Thus,
Okay, brothers and sisters, issues are resolved. Yeah, apologies for that. Apologies for that. Brother Leader, you back with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, Brother Leader. I forgot that you wouldn't be able to see that you had dropped off. So my apologies. But yeah, if you dropped off at the point whereby you were dealing with Donald Trump. You had got some way through that. And so if you could go back to that slide. Yeah. I was trying to get the actual last words that you. So you were dealing with Friends of Paul Kagame, and you were talking about the fact that the Davos meeting. You hadn't quite got to talking about the Davos meeting.
Okay. So did you see the videos?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Tell them,
Apologies, Brother Leader. Yeah. So yeah, we didn't see the videos at all. I know. I said it, go. Yeah, I said it, go.
Life.
Life. I said it, go. Don't worry. My apologies.
So you know I work hard, you know.
I know.
Sorry. Have some water.
Yeah, you know. I apologize, brother. Yeah, I was trying to keep the fort, stirring until you come back, and then I realized let me make a call and see what I go on.
Okay.
So yeah. So if when you're ready, please share again.
Okay.
Again.
Can you see the presentation?
Not yet. You have to reshare it.
Okay. All right. One more. Give us a minute or two. Yeah.
No problem, Brother Leader. All right. So yes, brothers and sisters, Brother Leader is back. So we're gonna get the thing going again. Apologies for that. So Brother Leader has to go back over. What you missed, brothers and sisters. So do stay tuned. And we'll get it done. So as I was saying, you can check out the message that was just playing on Mowale. Oh my gosh, I forget the name of the message to reggae. Let me see now. Make sure I got the right title. Yes, I got so many titles in my head at the moment. And the vision of freedom, brothers and sisters. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Right now on Kimbunga Media. And give thanks, brothers and sisters, for all the feedback that I've gotten in relation to that presentation. You know, people seem to truly appreciate it. All right, we're getting Brother Lee's presentation back up at the moment. If we just get back to the PowerPoint, and once I see the PowerPoint in presentation mode again, I'll bring it forward. All right. Oh, it's dropped off again. Okay, we're getting there, brothers and sisters. A lot of technicals today, you know. I saw the tingo. Yeah, I saw the tingo. All right. Right, we're getting there. Reminding you, Mama Baina Bello, this coming 21st of March, brothers and sisters, interviewed by the Ashe Collective. So do stay tuned. We was scheduled to get Mama Baina on for a We Stand With IET session, and we'll still do that. And don't worry, we haven't done with We Stand With IET. We've got more IET content coming your way soon. We're going to be breaking down some of the economics of IET from the 80s up until now. Okay, the presentation is back up. And so we're going to get to the right place in the presentation, then we're going to continue. So yeah, do stay tuned for more IET content. I've got a video coming where we're going to be addressing the issue of the rice industry in IET and what took place there. Okay, Brother Leader, I'm going to bring you back forward now. And now, Brother Leader.
Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Kudzai Mudzimo Mukuru, give praises unto our great ancestors, for they are indeed worthy to be praised. Give thanks, brothers and sisters, for your patience and your indulgence. I'm going to move as quickly forward as I can and try and pick up from where I understand that we left off. I had to do a presentation today because I wanted to make sure that no stones were left unturned. unturned. And I wanted, beloved brothers and sisters, to also present the evidence to you that you can always go and follow up for yourselves. But I want to clear up this issue once and for all. There is no need for any confusion around the issue of Paul Kagame and where he stands. If Donald Trump is going to be trumping and trumpeting the name Paul Kagame, then you know that Paul Kagame represents a very serious deficit in the revolutionary vision and mission of our people. So Donald Trump, after a meeting in Davos in Switzerland, January 2018, the usual annual Davos meeting for the World Economic Forum, tweeted, "It was an honor, beloved brothers and sisters, honor in red, dipped in blood, brothers and sisters, to meet with Republic of Rwanda President Paul Kagame this morning in Davos, Switzerland. Many great discussions," he says. An honor. Why was it an honor? Why did Trump, racist Trump, and I don't know whether you heard when I was speaking about his maneuvers to try and get the Central Park 5 convicted and sentenced and given the death sentence, Shakara?
No, we didn't, Reverend Leader.
Okay. Well, some of you may know about the Central Park 5. 5 young Africans who were falsely accused of raping and beating a white woman near to death, who were arrested, tried, wrongfully convicted, and imprisoned for many years for a crime they did not commit. Donald Trump was instrumental in corrupting the jury pool, which is the public perception of these young men's guilt, by spending no less than 85,000 pounds to put poison in 4 leading newspapers to influence public opinion, and therefore the likelihood of influencing the jury pool that would hear the case and decide on the guilt or otherwise of these young men. He was determined to have them not just sentenced, but sentenced to death. He called for the death penalty. And even when these young brothers went to prison, and eventually the real, I can't remember if the woman died or not, the real rapist and batterer or murderer, I can't remember if she died. She may have. Even when he admitted to the crime and was arrested, and these young men were now being exonerated, Donald Trump was still insisting that they were guilty. Such is his hate of African people. But Donald Trump was honored to meet Paul Kagame. And he said many great discussions. They had many great discussions. Was Paul Kagame saying to Donald Trump, "Mr. Trump, I'm for the liberation of my people. I want Africa free. I want Africa to be united, from east to west, north to south." Did he say to Donald Trump, "Mr. Trump, I want to reinvoke the vision of the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, who was working towards transforming the, industrializing the African continent and transforming the African continent into the #1 superpower in the world. Is that the conversation he was having with Trump, why Trump was so honored? Trump, who believes in America first? Trump, whose obsession is to make America great again? Meaning he wants to go back to a time. And the further back you go in American history, the further you go into that phase of the Ma'afa that marked the enslavement of African people, or the system of segregation that accommodated open brutality against African people. But that's not all that Trump has said in relation to Paul Kagame. Listen to this. Watch this.
The only president I love in Africa is President of Rwanda, Mr. Kagame. He has made a lot of developments in Rwanda.
What? Did you all hear that, beloved brothers and sisters? I don't think you all heard that. Let me play it one more time. The
only president I love in Africa is President of Rwanda, Mr. Kagame. He has made a lot of developments in Rwanda.
The only president I love in Africa. Love.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor
Paul
to
Kagame.
be President Kagame. We have had tremendous discussions on Rwanda. The job they've done is absolutely terrific. We have trade with Rwanda and just general, I would say, great relationships. I want to congratulate you, Mr. President, as being the new head of the African Union. That's a great honor. This was just announced recently, and that really truly is a great honor. So please give my regards. I know you're going to your first meeting very shortly, and please give my warmest regards. But it's an honor to have you as a friend. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, it was a great honor to meet the President of the United States, President Donald Trump, and we had good discussions on those two levels. The bilateral relations between Rwanda and the United States. Rwanda has benefited tremendously from the support of the United States in many areas where it is in peace support operations we have carried out in different parts of the world. We had the United States on our side supporting us. They have supported our economy in trade, investment. We see a lot of tourists from the United States, visitors coming to Rwanda. And President, I wanted to thank you for the support you have received from you personally and the administration. And we are looking forward to also working with the United States at the level of the African Union, where we are carrying out reforms at the African Union so that we get our act together to do the right things. And that helps in cooperating with the United States. It would be more beneficial when we are organized to know what we want from the United States.
Sure.
For that cooperation. So I thank you very much.
Well, I thank you very much. And it's a great honor to have all of you here. And we'll speak for a little bit longer. And thank you very much. Thank you for
the only
one more time
I love in Africa is President of Rwanda, Mr. Kagame. He has made a lot.
Sorry, beloved brothers and sisters. The only president I love in Africa is the president of Rwanda, Mr. Kagame. I love him. Love dipped in blood, brothers and sisters. He made a lot of developments in Rwanda. Friends of Paul Kagame. You know, there's a character by the name of Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State of the United States of America. He's known as a political scientist and various other things. You know, he has a saying: to be an enemy of America is dangerous. but to be a friend of America is fatal. Kissinger said that. To be an enemy of America is dangerous, but to be a friend of America is fatal. Someone need to get that maxim to Paul Kagame so he can reflect on it. We haven't got far to go, beloved brothers and sisters. But did you hear Kagame say, Rwanda has benefited tremendously, brothers and sisters. You know what tremendously mean? Nuff. Whole heap of nuff. Tremendously. Rwanda has benefited tremendously from the support of the United States. In many areas where there is increased support in operations we have carried out in different parts of the world, we've had the United States on our side supporting us. Case for the crown, beloved brothers and sisters. All of us who want to be confused on this issue as to the extent to which America and Britain are involved in supporting Rwanda or running Rwanda. Isn't it clear from the words that we are hearing from various presidents and prime ministers of the US and the UK and from Paul Kagame himself that they are deeply intertwined with each other, beloved brothers and sisters? They are in love and inseparable. They have a common interest that appears to be permanent interest. It gets better. Benjamin Netanyahu is a friend of Kagame. We see, he says, how you stand up for Israel in international forums, and you already express a simple principle. There is a dissonance between us and a few other nations still, but not with you, darling. Look at that gentle touch. Not with you, honey. You're on our side. Netanyahu is saying to us, it wasn't even really speaking to us, but he's saying to the world that Paul Kagame is a defender of Zionism. And all those who recognize, all those Pan-Afrikanists among us who recognize Zionism as a vicious and evil force in the world, how can you be confused when Benjamin Netanyahu who is bombing the hell out of Palestine as we speak, is hailing his friend Paul Kagame as a defender of Israel, a defender of Zionism? Do you know the role that Zionism played in the ravaging, or continues to play in the ravaging of the African continent? Do we know what role Zionism had played in maintaining the vicious, barbarous system of apartheid in South Africa? What role did Zionism play in cementing the vicious, evil, savage regime of Rhodesia in Zimbabwe? Do we know what role Zionism played? But Paul Kagame is being internationally acclaimed by the Zionists to be their defender. Reuven Rivlin, former president of Israel, 2014 to 2021. Kagame visited Israel in 2017. And Rivlin said these words: we know that Rwanda is now going to be a member of the United Nations Human Rights Commission. This is a body which is always against Israel. So we welcome all those who are prepared to speak for us. We welcome all those as he shakes Paul Kagame's hand, because you are a defender, Paul, of Israel. You are a friend of Zionism. It gets better, beloved brothers and sisters. APAC, the American Israel Policy Affairs Committee. This is one of the most powerful institutions in the United States of America. Some people say it is the most powerful institution in the United States of America that, amongst other things, influences domestic and foreign policy, determines and shapes domestic and foreign policy to ensure that it serves the Zionist interest. And Paul Kagame was the first African president ever to be invited to speak at APAC's annual policy conference. That's a privileged position, beloved brothers and sisters. American presidents or president hopefuls have to be approved by APAC before they can occupy the global office. He hailed Israel as an inspiration for Rwanda's rebirth and pledged its friendship with Israel. Paul Kagame, a friend of Zionism, a trusted friend of Zionism. And some of us are asking, is he a Pan-Afrikanist? Some of us are asserting that he is a Pan-Afrikanist. Since when does Zionism align with Pan-Africanism? And finally, Paul Kagame visits Israel in 2008 and declares Israel as a friend and an ally. In other words, he affirmed their shared interests, common interests, and that they were partners in a global agenda, rejecting any effort to delegitimize Israel's statehood. Any effort to delegitimize Israel's statehood. Israel, with all the wickedness that is being done to the Palestinians, he is defending Israel against any effort to delegitimize their statehood, when their statehood eclipses the statehood or what the Palestinians would consider to be their right to have a state on the same land. So, beloved brothers and sisters, my aim today was to make clear, was to put before you incontrovertible evidence, to make it crystal clear to you who Paul Kagame is, who supports him, who he answers to, who he considers to be a friend. In other words, with whom he shares a common interest. Beloved brothers and sisters, I want to leave no stones unturned. I want to leave no gray areas. And what I've brought to you, brothers and sisters, are facts that fits into a 360-degree analysis that points us to the truth. Truth is what is. It is the 360 degrees of reality. So I hope, beloved brothers and sisters, that you will do your own studies and research to develop more knowledge and information on this matter, as I close with the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who says the world today is indebted to us for the benefits of civilization. They stole our arts and sciences from Africa. Then why should we be ashamed of ourselves? Let no voice but your own speak to you from the depths. Let no influence but your own rouse you in times of peace and in times of war. And I'll continue, beloved brothers and sisters, without the words, hear all, but attend only to that which concerns you. Your allegiance shall be to your God, your race, your country. Follow always that great law. Let God and the sky be our limits and eternity our measurement. There are no heights to which we cannot climb by using the active intelligence of our own minds. Minds create, but as much as we desire in nature, we shall get through the creation of our own minds. But in your homes and everywhere possible, you must teach the higher development of science to your children and make sure that we have a race of scientists par excellence. For in religion and science lies our only hope to withstand the evil designs of modern materialism. In religion and science lies our only hope to withstand the evil designs of modern materialism. The only reason why some of us are confused about where Paul Kagame stands is because we have fallen prey to the evil designs of modern materialism. The only reason why some of us will go to Rwanda and be bowled over and intoxicated by bright lights and skyscrapers and blooming flowers, aromatic scent of flowers, to the point that we lose our Tehuti intelligence. We lose our capacity for keen insight and exceptional perception, is because we have fallen prey to the evil designs of modern materialism. And that's why, as I always close with the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who says, unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Rumbidzo kunamwari Africa. To the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, brother leader, give him thanks for an excellent breakdown thus far. I think we can announce, brother leader, to the masses that this is actually part one.
That's right.
Yeah. So we will be engaging part two next week, and I can share that with you right now, brothers and sisters. In fact, the video the live stream video is already up. Yeah, so you can check out part two next week. We'll be going into even greater detail. Today was a focus on Kagame's associations and affiliations. Yeah, the friends of Paul Kagame, the thing and their relationships. And so it should be clear from all of those relationships that Kagame is in bed with the Western corporate and governmental elite, brothers and sisters. Yeah, and so that should be clear from today's presentation. But on Ojama Day, Wednesday, the 19th of March, we will be delving a bit deeper into this subject with the Kagame Enigma, Deadly Politricks of Africa, part 2. All right. So give thanks for that, brother leader. We're gonna let people know about this again before the end of the show. Omkal, I see you, brothers and sisters. The link is in the chat. So if you would like to join us, feel free to click that link. At Kimbonga Media, if you would like to ask a question, at Kimbonga Media, if you would like to ask a question or make a comment from the chat itself. So you may not want to come on the panel, but you can, make a comment from the chat. Just please at Kimbonga Media, so I know that you want your comment or question read out. Cal, I'm going to come to you shortly. I just want to ask Brother Leader a question before I bring you through. And that, Brother Leader, is we have to clear this up immediately. Because one of the things that I've seen it's a bit of a sleight of hand. It's even a clumsy sleight of hand that is to position brothers and sisters who critique Kagame as defenders and supporters of the Congolese government. Yeah, to the point, Brother Leader, that I've even shared a video from my session with Brother Kambale Musavuli, in which I say, when I call the Congolese government neo-colonial, nobody questions me. And that's how it begins. And I go through a number of other governments in Africa and the Caribbean that we can refer to as neo-colonial. And very few, if any, people are going to question us. But when we challenge the neo-colonial nature of the Rwanda government, there's a barrage of Kagame propagandists, and even brothers and sisters bots have resorted to trying to suggest that we are defenders and apologists for violence against Tutsis. Yeah. And so then what some brothers and sisters have even responded to that video, even though it begins by saying, when we call the Congolese government neo-colonial, they respond by posting evidence of the neo-colonial activities of the Congolese government, as though the neo-colonial activities of the Congolese government somehow mitigates the neo-colonial activities of the Rwandan government. And so my question to you, Brother Leader, we have to clear this up very, very quickly and immediately. Is your presentation today a defense of the Congolese government? Is it to suggest that the Congolese government is indeed Pan-Afrikanist and progressive and revolutionary in its inclinations? And is it to suggest that Tshisekedi or Joseph Kabila or the rest of them were in fact working on behalf of the people of the Congo and in the interest of the people of the Congo?
Tendai Mwari, this is a subject I intend to go into in more detail next Sabbath. However, I will say this, brothers and sisters will recall from my presentation that the Democratic Republic of Congo was one of the list of countries that were under the spell of Tony Blair and his Institute for Global Change. No revolutionary, truly revolutionary Pan-African nation would invite the likes of Tony Blair to effectively be the neo-colonial governor of their country, directing and telling them what to do and placing so-called consultants in their leading departments to effectively run those departments. So I think that should clear that up. I think the extent to which these governments, the government of Tshisekedi, who by the way, whose father was one of the traitors who turned against Papa Patrice Lumumba and helped to orchestrate his murder. That tells you something about his mentality and his politics. And I'll just quickly state and develop on this a little bit more next week. I know a lot of people put Laurent Kabila in the same bracket as all of the other leaders of the Congo. I make an exception when it comes to Laurent Kabila. And I make an exception for this, not because he was perfect at all, but because Laurent Kabila, as a young man in his early 20s, must have been about 20 or 21, when the Congo became independent. And when the fracas started, was orchestrated in the Congo in order to facilitate the overthrow of Papa Patrice Lumumba and his government. Laurent Kabila was one who stood firmly behind Papa Patrice Lumumba. He's from Katanga, where much of the unrest occurred when Moise Tshombe, under the control of the Belgians, attempted to secede from the Congo. Laurent Kabila and others formed a resistant movement to resist this happening. And over the years, he has continued to try in whatever way he could to overthrow. He hated Mobutu. And when Nelson Mandela attempted to step in when Laurent Kabila was trying to retake the Congo, and Nelson Mandela stepped in to try and reconcile the two and encourage them to engage in some power sharing, Laurent Kabila refused to share power with Mobutu. He hated Mobutu. He wanted Mobutu dead. But at least he wanted Mobutu out of the Congo. And he never stopped until that was achieved. And he was subsequently assassinated.
Yeah.
We can talk a bit more about that.
Next week. Yeah. It's necessary to clarify, Brother Lee, that Laurent Kabila is different to Joseph Kabila. We've said this on previous shows. Well, just for anybody who's new to the thing, we have to make the distinction again. Yeah. So Joseph Kabila followed Laurent Kabila, and depending on who you speak to, is the son of Laurent Kabila. But didn't represent, if Brother Lee's assessment is to be taken true, and we'll accept it as true until he goes into more detail next Sabbath, doesn't represent his politics in any way, shape, or form.
That's correct.
So go ahead.
That's correct. In fact, when he became president through some strange process, when he became president, that's Joseph Kabila, after his father was assassinated. He basically undid everything that his father tried to put in place. First thing he did was sack his father's advisors, open up the country to America, to Britain, start to engage in friendly relationship with these countries, and the rest was history.
Yeah, Brother Leader, and one thing that we'll go into in another show a bit more detail. Brother Kambale Musavuli stated and elucidated on the fact that there were businessmen who were flying into the Congo and doing business with some of the people who professed to be supporting the forces against Mobutu at that time. Yeah, some of those businessmen are still on the scene in Africa today. All right, some of those businessmen are still on the scene in Africa today. I'm going to leave that there, and we're going to come back to it in a future show. One more question before I bring in Omkal, who is a brother from the Congo. He declares himself. One might say, Brother Leader, that all of this evidence that you've presented today is circumstantial, because of the fact that you're dealing with the public statements of politicians who often engage in various acts of what is referred to as diplomacy. And terms like friend maybe more diplomatic, yeah, than they are substantive, yeah, in their usage. And that Kagame and Bush and Blair and Trump and Johnson and all of them maybe just engaged in international diplomacy, yeah, and that Kagame is just playing the game as a sincere, genuine, revolutionary, or at least progressive African leader who understands that he has to play, and he's just doing his best to get the best out of them, yeah. But really, he's holding the cards in his hand and he's serving the nation of Rwanda in the process. Some might say, brother leader, that Nkrumah spoke to this European businessman and that European, president or prime minister, and had friendly relations. Some might say that Lumumba himself, in his independent speech, referred to Belgium as a friendly nation with whom we operate on equal terms. Yeah, we use the word friendly, brother leader. Somebody's going to say these things. Yeah. So what would your response to be to that analysis?
Well, they murdered Lumumba swiftly and got him out of the way. Right. And Kagame is there, living large in Rwanda. And there's no,
which is another point, brother leader, because now there's sanctions being put on Kagame. So factor that into your analysis or your answer to this question as well. What do you make of the recent moves that appear to be against Rwanda and RPF forces?
Well, it's not the first time
they did that in RPF forces.
Yeah, it's not the first time. They did that in 2012, 2013. They, they said that they put sanctions. That's a PR thing because the situation is that bad that they have to respond to it. They have to do something to appease public opinion. But in no time, they were back in tandem with each other. They were back working with Kagame. The constant has been Tony Blair in Rwanda. That project has never ceased. Yeah. And why would George Bush be talking about training thousands of Rwandan soldiers if that was not true? Why would he be talking about submitting or committing 17 million towards moving Rwandan soldiers to the Sudan for operations in the Sudan if that was not a fact, if that was not true? You can't compare that with some fleeting statement that Patrice Lumumba may have made, or the Osagyefo for Kwame Nkrumah. We saw the reaction of the forces of global white supremacy and Euro-American imperialism to the Osagyefo for Kwame Nkrumah. They toppled his government. Yeah. In fact, they may well have even murdered him. So his children, some of his children have spoken publicly and have said that they do not believe that their father died of natural causes. I read where it has been suggested that both he and Secretary had the CIA was planted in their kitchens. Now, when you think of the CIA station chief in the Congo in the 60s, a character by the name of Larry Devlin, who subsequently publicly stated that he was instructed to kill Patrice Lumumba by way of organizing for his toothpaste to be injected with a poison that would manifest symptoms in Lumumba that resembled symptoms of local diseases that would be degenerative, so it would first cripple him and eventually kill him. But in the process of transporting this poison from America to the Congo and organizing for his home to be infiltrated and this operation to be done, the poison became ineffective. So they couldn't carry out this wicked act. So there is no comparison. You know, if we want to, some of us are just in such denial that no matter how powerful and how strong the evidence, we're going to turn a blind eye. And I also want to flag up again the APAC invitation to speak at their annual conference to Paul Kagame. He's the only African leader that has been invited to do so. And if we understand what that means, then we would be in no doubt that as far as they are concerned, Paul Kagame is their man.
Within a year of that speech, Kagame visited Israel and Netanyahu visited Rwanda. And I believe the following year, the president...
I think he did the speech in March. Yeah. And I think he was in Israel by the July. I think he went to July. Went to Israel in the July.
And I believe it was the following year that Netanyahu visited Rwanda, and also the president, the president of Israel, because Israel has a prime minister and a president.
Yeah.
Visited
Rivlin.
Yes, visited Rwanda as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Rivlin. Yeah.
It's also necessary to note, brothers and sisters, that when Brother Leader speaks about the relationship between the Institute of the Tony Blair Institute, of Global Change, all right, that just to say, just as one point, when we talk about advisors up and throughout the Rwandan government, just to give an example of how deep this goes, because all of the advisors are not known. There's a lot of secrecy around, a lot of who these advisors are. Well, one of them that we are aware of is a guy by the name of Guy Barron, who is the chief investment officer of the Rwanda Development Board. And the Rwanda Development Board is central to the running of the Rwandan economy. They facilitate all of the investment and all of the sponsorship and a lot of the programs of the Rwandan government as it relates to business. And when we see that this relationship between Rwanda and Arsenal Football Club, Visit Rwanda, that is facilitated by the Rwanda Development Board. Yes, and many other things. So this guy who is part of, an advisor of, an officer within the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change is the chief investment officer of the Rwanda Development Board. That means he has a significant role, yes, in the policies that govern the Rwandan economy. Let me not talk anymore. Let me bring forward my brother Omkal. Omkal, if you could please turn your camera on. Brothers and sisters, the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. You have an opportunity to come live, and speak to Brother Leader, if you so wish. Brother Omkal, are you with us? Please turn your camera on. I haven't brought you through yet because I can't see you. Yeah, okay, we can see you now. All right, good. We're gonna bring through our brother. Greetings, my brother.
For security reason, can I leave my camera off?
I will allow it, my brother. Go ahead.
All right. Yes, thank you so much, Brother Shakara. Thank you so much, Elder Mbandaka. Asante sana. Ashe. I'm from Congo and specifically from Kivu region. My father is from Uvira. My mom is from Bukavu. I've lived all along all that region, from Goma, Uvira to Kinshasa, and even visiting Rwanda before Kagame and during Kagame time. Probably since, this year I've started to speak out a lot and passing through the media. I don't think that I'll ever put my feet again in Rwanda. And that's why I'm trying to stay a little bit off the camera, because I still have a few friends there and some members of family. So thank you so much, Elder Mbandaka, for all that you've exposed. As a Congolese, I totally, approve your message, because it's truthful. It's it's factual that anybody can research and find out. I know that a lot of our African American, especially, or English speaking brothers, they've been bamboozled by the Kagame and PR firms. We call it Kagame-stans. So that's why the lacks even of our brothers and sisters who we may believe that they are Pan-African, they cannot really find out what is going on there. And I will take this opportunity to ask to Shakara, because we've been struggling to get a media to pass on our message. As you know, Congo, when all these powerful entities attack a country like a Congo, they will do all their best to even portray it in a bad light, bad image, and even shut it off from the media. So I am a part of an organization of Congolese. We call ourselves American Congolese United PAC. And one of our aim is to lobby for Congo, especially the sovereignty of Congo. We have two guys who have done deep research, work of scholarship about what is going on in Congo. One about the whole global issue, and another one especially on the eastern regions of the Congo. So I would like to ask, with all due respect, if I left my email, if you can please, if we can stay in touch with you so that we can have an opportunity to debunk what the viral video of Nyerere was speaking about, and what Thabo Mbeki has spoken about, what PLO Lumumba has said, and the likes, because we have people with knowledge, with deep scholarship, who can provide facts and explanation about that. That would be one of my points.
My brother, we do you no favors by allowing you to do so and opening the ways for you to share that information with us. Kimbunga Media intends to serve the African diaspora along the lines of Pan-African growth and development, and so absolutely, yeah. I've seen your email and I've taken it down, so I will definitely be in touch, and feel free to send us everything that you have. Yeah,
definitely.
I don't know how long you've been following us, but we've done a number of shows on the situation in Congo at the moment, and there is more to come. Yeah?
Yes, I start following you from the video of the brother. I think he's from maybe Ghana or Jamaica, who went to Rwanda, and he was so pro Kagame. I'm the guy who left the comment, saying that if we'll have to get opportunity, we can debunk all this, the harmful stuff with this brother is talking.
Well,
so
I tell you what, brother, we'll be speaking to Brother Heru again on the 4th of April. And so do come through for that. And I will try to make sure that there's enough time, because myself and Brother Heru, we can talk a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I will try to make sure that there's time to open up the floor to the audience. And if not, I will also try to organize some time for your organization to have some space as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Because we struggle, I won't mention the name, but there is a few which you may think they are really Pan-African, TV or medias, but it's been months. We've been back and forth, providing even, to get space. So, but we understand, because it's not the first year, it's not the first time. We know that the pro-Kagame, media, the pro-Kagame propaganda have been spreading deep. So, yeah, thank you so much,
my brother. I'm aware. We're not a massive platform as it stands right now at all.
You will.
But we will get there. I'm only saying that to highlight that even at our current stage of development, I have experienced the weight of pro Kagame propagandists, and how they operate on social media. So I can only imagine, what it's like for those who have further reach than we currently have at the moment. And I recognize that what we are experiencing at the moment is about the potential for our further reach, and ensuring that doesn't come to fruition in a way that challenges the propaganda too effectively. So, my brother, I'm very appreciative, not just for your coming through on the show, but for your declaration to develop a relationship with us. And so we will ensure that happens. And I'll be in touch very, very soon.
Thank you so much.
Brother Lena, do you have anything to say in response to anything that Brother Kyle has shared?
Well, Tendai Mwari, just to say, Brother Kyle, give thanks and praises for your contribution to the discussion this evening, for your kind words of appreciation for the work that is being done. And we want to hail you also for the work that you're doing for our people in the Congo. And what we need to do is, as you have suggested, is to collaborate and, you know, empower our work through the synergy that comes with unity, and begin to move our agenda forward, because these are very, very serious times, very, very serious times. And just to say, my brother, I love the spirit with which you shared your thoughts with us as well. You know, so just continue the work. May our divine creator, Mwari through Mudzimo Mokuru, our great ancestors, continue to shower you with blessings going forward. Tendai Mwari.
Thank you.
Matondo, my brother, Matondo. We appreciate it. All right, brothers and sisters. That was Brother Kal. I forgot to say when I opened the show, you know, big up my brothers and sisters them in Paris. I was blessed to be able to share some space with brothers and sisters in Paris over the weekend. And that was just a beautiful, beautiful occasion. So shout out to the Muntu family, La Famille Muntu, and shout out to my sister Able from Nation Kamit, who I was able to meet up with again for the first time in a number of years. So I just want to big up the people in Paris, and I'm saying that just in case any of you are watching right now. Yeah, I want to just give thanks for the warm welcome that we received in Paris, and shout out to our Professor Robin Walker, Brother Leon Marshall, and all the brothers and sisters that came from London to Paris. Yeah, you know, it was a beautiful experience connecting. Brothers and sisters, the link is in the chat. If nobody else comes through in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna end the live, the come true on the panel live element. We've got some questions though, Brother Leader, in the chat that have been typed. You're on mute, Brother Leader, sorry.
Sorry, Brother Chakara. Can I just switch off the camera for 1 minute?
No problem. All right, brothers and sisters. Brother Lily will be back in a second. I'm taking your questions in the chat. So if you want your question or comment read out, if you want your comment or question read out, please at Kimbonga Media. The link to join the panel is also in the chat, brothers and sisters. Yeah. So if you are, wanting a point of clarification, or you would like to respectfully, emphasis on respectfully, challenge Brother Leader, maybe you are a supporter of Paul Kagame and you believe that much of what Brother Leader has shared today is false or requires correction, feel free to come through and share your perspective, and we will dutifully listen and hear and respond. We want to also let you know, brothers and sisters, that Brother Leader will be back with us next week, Ujama Day, the 19th of March, for part 2 of our presentation on the Kagame Enigma. Yes, today, as was stated, we kind of delve deep into Kagame's associations and how those associations manifest themselves in the government and the economy of Rwanda. Down to even military training and deployment that has been funded by the American government under President George Bush the Younger, brothers and sisters. Yeah, Brother Leader shared with us that under George Bush, over 7,000 troops were trained in Rwanda and deployed to Sudan prior to the splitting of Sudan into North and South Sudan. We were informed, brothers and sisters, by our brother Maurice Carney from Friends of the Congo that Rwandan troops are currently in Mozambique defending the interest of the French energy company Total, brothers and sisters, making sure that they have access to the petroleum and gas of Mozambique, brothers and sisters. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You know, so we're seeing all of these dynamics. Yeah. I'm wondering where, what military battle Kagame is fighting, and the Rwandan military is fighting against the forces of neocolonialism. Yeah. I'm wondering wherever that the military goes at the moment, there seems to be a French, a British, or an American interest that follows shortly after them at the moment. Where is the RPF protecting African mines and resources from French corporations and British corporations and American corporations? Where is that happening? I'm not aware of this. And if anybody is aware of this, please let me know. And if you don't know particularly right now, you don't have the information, you've got a week. Yes, you've got a whole 7 days to come through on Ojaba Day, Wednesday, the 19th of March, and share with us, where is the RPF being deployed against British, French, and American corporations in the defense of African people and resources? That's what we want to know. All right. Okay. I'm gonna come to the I'm gonna come to the questions now, and I need to remove that and get to the question then. Right. So Mush says Kimbunga Media, the Zimbabwe government is now supporting Rwanda. It recently signed deals with Israel. Any response on that, brother? I know we've been watching Zimbabwe for a long time. Yeah. So any thoughts on that? You're on mute, brother. Sorry.
Tendai Mwari, you know, we talk about the deadly politricks of the African continent, and it manifests in a multiplicity of ways. The Zimbabwean government that we see today is not the Zimbabwean government of 20 years ago. And we're not saying it was even perfect 20 years ago, but it was standing firmly against the forces of Euro-American imperialism. But Zimbabwe has taken some beatings economically as a result of that. And it has affected it. People have suffered as a result of that. And it wouldn't be for the first time in history that a nation has caved in under the suffering. That's
real talk. Well, an interesting point, probably, because similarly, right? You say the government wasn't perfect 20 years ago, but it was even less perfect 20 years before that. And sorry, the government of Zimbabwe I'm talking about now. And you yourself was entirely scathing of Robert Mugabe prior to 2000. Yeah. And so what if somebody said to you, well, really that Kagame is Mugabe in the making, he's playing a gear right, you know, and in 5 years time we're gonna, you know, switch up the thing, yeah, and start dealing with some revolutionary movements. What would you say to that, Robert? What would you say to that?
Well, I say, well, let's cross that bridge when we come to it.
When we come to it, all right. Yeah.
Let's cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's see him change tact and change policy. Yes. And then you will see his relationship with the foreign forces will change. Yeah, they won't be calling him friend and bigging him up and so-called investing in his country anymore. Did you hear them calling Mugabe friend?
No, them take away him knighthood and all them thing there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. And in the end, Zimbabwe left the Commonwealth.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Kagame joined the Commonwealth.
Kagame
joined the Commonwealth. You know, it's a big difference.
Yeah, very big difference. Very big difference. Yeah, fundamental. ISIS says, Kimunga, hail up. I'm aware that Brother Leader places great importance on strategy. What strategies ought to be adopted to dismantle the Kagame regime's collaboration in the destabilization of the DRC?
Well, Tendai Mwari, we the people have to recognize our collective power. We the people have to get serious about our liberation. And the liberation starts from where? our ancestors have a saying, to count sand, you start from where you stand. To count sand, you start from where you stand. Imagine we have the task of counting every grain of sand in a mountain. Yeah? Every grain of sand. What the ancestors are telling us, don't concern ourselves with the grains at the top. Concern ourselves with the grains at our feet and start the counting. Start counting one by one. And the more of us who join in the counting, the quicker and the easier the counting will become. We must not be overwhelmed by the task. So what is required is for us as African people to get serious about our liberation. And everywhere we are in the world, we ought to be doing liberation work. Liberation work where we are, and we need to link up the forces that we generate where we are with other forces in other parts of the African world. If we really want to have an impact on Rwanda, an impact on the Congo, get ourselves organized in Africa, UK. Get ourselves organized, because the impact we have will always be greater. There's work we need to do here with in terms of exposing the British establishment and their chicanery on the African continent. That's a fight that we have to take on as Africans in Africa, UK. Yeah. And when I say Africa, UK, I'm guided by the wisdom of Baba John Henry Clark, who says we must Africanize time and space. And so Papa Garvey says wherever we are, we must organize ourselves as a nation. So here we are as Africans in the UK. We must speak of Africa. We must Africanize time and space. And we must organize ourselves, not to speak of ourselves, but organize ourselves as a nation of people. And then we start to undertake the work as a nation of people. Then we will be more effective.
Yes, and I'll just add to that as a part of that work, we need to know and understand and support the organizations that are doing the work on the ground in the Congo and in Rwanda. Our brother Kambale Musavuli said to us and implored us to understand that there are people resisting in Rwanda as well. Yes. And so it's our business to know who those organizations are and do what we can to support them with our voice and our resources.
Which is exactly what I meant when I said we have to link up our forces here with the forces on the ground in Rwanda and the Congo. And it's right to emphasize, Brother Shakara, that and because that's something I think sometimes we do not give our people in the motherland credit for. We sometimes make the assumption that they're not doing anything or they're not doing enough or whatever it is. It's never the case. Africans are always resistant. Whenever there is oppression, we are always resistant, not always as organized as we should be. That is our challenge. We need to unite and we need to organize. And then we need to link up our united, organized forces globally.
Yes, sir. Don't worry. And I mentioned that just to say, brothers and sisters, that we are organizing at the moment a show featuring organizations on the ground in the Congo. Yeah. And so as a media institution, it's our duty to highlight those voices and bring them to you as and where possible. So we're planning to do that at the moment. I'm sure you can appreciate it's a difficult one to organize, but we're doing it and it will be brought to you as soon as we can make it happen. Yeah. And that is the job of Pan-African media. All right. Right, Brother Lee. The next question. Oh, sorry. ISIS was had a continuing comment, and so this was just a destabilization of the DRC and the resulting genocidal violence, including dire sexual violence, extraction of the resources without giving Babylon the opportunity to gain more control of the region. So yeah, I believe the question is answered. There are institutions on the ground that are trying to address all of those issues, yeah, including the sexual violence, including the resource extraction. I think both Brother Kambale Musavuli and Brother Maurice, but I believe particularly Brother Kambale, implored us to never negate the political context in whatever work that we're doing. And he was saying that because some people like to divorce the charity, i.e., catering for orphans or caring for women who are victims of sexual violence, from the political context in which that is taking place. And that even the work that we do to care for our people who have been victims of certain levels of violence and orphanage and so on has to be put in its political context, so that it doesn't just become a plaything for Western NGOs and charities to come and really reinforce the geopolitical norms of Western imperialism. Yeah. And so I'm just emphasizing that because our brother did implore us, to put everything in its political context and make the fight political on every level, even when we're dealing with issues of orphanage, refugee, and status and sexual violence. Yeah. And sometimes that's difficult for us to do, but it's necessary. We're talking about, Brother Leader touched on Israel and Palestine. And we saw at the beginning of that, of the conflict as it relates to what happened in 2023, the weaponizing, of the sexual violence against women in Israel for political purposes, not to care for the women and give them counseling, but for political purposes. Yes, so these people are clear about their political interests at all moments in time, brothers and sisters. So we have to be mindful of that as well. And I hope brothers and sisters understand what it is I'm getting at. Brother Omkal was actually commenting as well, and he said here, similar to what he said on the on when he came on the panel, that he's a Congolese, and he's thanking you, Brother Leader, for sharing this with our brothers and sisters who have been bamboozled by Rwanda PR firms. He says, I am from the Great Lakes region of Africa, and I approve that this elder is knowledgeable of the geopolitics in the region. That's another one, Brother Leader, because some people seem to believe that you can't know anything about our place unless you travel to the place. And it's very interesting that you asked the question today. When we go to Rwanda, are we going to see Tony Blair and Bill Clinton? Yeah, you know, you know what I'm saying. We're going to see, like it's not an intelligent argument to me. You know that you're gonna, that by going to a place is when you know about the deeper politics, the deeper geopolitics, the global geopolitics. I'm gonna know, about Rwanda's relationship with Israel if I go to Rwanda. Yeah. And if I don't go to Rwanda, right, there's no way I can be knowledgeable about Rwanda's relationship with Israel. I can be in the United Kingdom of Great Britain, but unless I go to Rwanda, I can't be knowledgeable about Rwanda's relationship to the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Yes, Bolivia, but we can't know. Unless we go to Rwanda, we can't know nothing about Tony Blair relationship and what name? Johnson. Yeah, relationship and all them things there. We can't know because we never go to Rwanda yet. So it's not even an intelligent argument. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the argument is so juvenile. I'm struggling to find a worthwhile, intelligent way of responding to that, because I just would not expect someone of mature intellect to make an assertion like that.
No, this was said in the chat today. Whilst we were discussing, I saw somebody say that Africans in the diaspora need to go to the African continent to understand, and that is not to downplay,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot you will learn from going to the motherland, any part of the motherland, but that's not the issue here. That's not the issue. And that's why I made the point about the friends of Kagame.
Yes.
To emphasize the operational levels upon which they are engaged in the politics and the economics of Rwanda. This is not just protocol. I mean, this is not just overtures that politicians are making to each other. They are traveling up and down across the waters, in and out of each other's countries, and they are actively engaged in Rwanda. In fact, Bill Clinton Foundation is engaged in Rwanda as well, operationally. But you can go
as is Obama's African leadership initiative, even though they had some friction with Kagame, but the Rwandan Development Board also facilitates Obama's basketball league operating in Rwanda. But so go ahead, brother.
And they had some friction because Obama did call out Kagame on the M23 issue. Yeah,
and other human rights movements.
Yeah,
and he was critical of him trying to extend his term in office. A fact that something that Tony Blair was particularly silent on.
Absolutely, and that's why I said I emphasized that you can go to Rwanda, and you re-emphasize it just now, and you'll never know what these foreign forces, the impact that these foreign forces are having on Rwanda. You'll never know. The only way you're going to know is to do the research, to study it, and to speak to other people who know. So you don't have to travel. And you see, when we make those arguments, we negate the relevance of Papa Garvey and the impact of his work on the African continent and all the analyses he gave us in relation to Africa, because he never went to Africa.
It's just silly. It's silly. I'm going to come back to that as my last question, actually, particularly in relation to what our dear brother Rotendo said in that rather unfortunate interview that he gave. But let's come back to that. Our sister Onduku says, please feel free to let the brother know that he's welcome on Kumbukeni. I believe this is brother Omkal that she's referring to as well. The more of us who cover our narrative, the more it spreads to our people. Asante. My brother Omkal, I hope that you're seeing this. Oh, brother I hope that you're aware, you're seeing this, and you're familiar. If you're not, please, do get in contact with Kumbukeni, our sister Nduku, and the brothers and sisters that are over there at Kumbukeni are doing excellent work. And I've said many times that I truly appreciate the sister and the work that she is doing. Brother, I think brother Omkal is returning, so I'm gonna give him a space in a second. After let's read this last message from sister Nduku. She says, Brother Shakara, please do not take away from the blessings that our creator and the ancestors have showered on you. You are a large and formidable African media outlet. Own it. I do, my sister Hongera. I do. I absolutely do. I was just simply making the point in the context of the onslaught of pro-Kagame propagandists, that there are brothers and sisters who will experience that on a bigger level than we are. And so I was just saying that I'm aware of how particularly formidable it is, just based upon how much I've experienced it at our current stage of development. And so I do highlight the at our current stage of development, understanding and humbling myself to the fact that we have further stages of growth and development to engage in, my sister. And I'm sure that those further stages of growth and development are going to bring us closer together as Kimbunga Media and as Kumbukeni as well. And so I look forward to that and what you are doing, us collaborating even further. Let me get to Brother Omkal and we're going to close the show. All right. Brother Omkal?
Yes. Thank you again. Yeah, I just remember that I think I should have asked a question to the elder. Baba Mbandaka, do you think, because since this M23 resurgence, I've been in so many media trying to explain our brothers what's going on in Congo for real, debunking the myth and the lies. But I understand, since there's been a lot of propaganda, it's a little bit difficult. But do you think that enough Africans understand that Congo being, as they refer it, many other Pan-African, the heart of Africa, or the nucleus of Africa? Do you think that most of our melanated people, African brothers and sisters, understand that this destabilization of Congo, or the attack on Congo, is the attack of the whole of Africa?
Yes, Tendai Mwari, I think that's a fundamental point, my dear brother. The Congo, Africa is the richest continent on the face of the earth. We have been endowed with tremendous wealth by the supreme creator of the universe. And it so happens that Congo, which is in the center of the African continent, is the richest of the richest expanse of land on the planet. And so the Congo is absolutely crucial to the liberation of the African continent because of its strategic location in the center of the continent. You can liberate and organize the African continent from the Congo. Yeah, the strategic resources of the Congo are vast and unlimited. People put numbers on it, 24 trillion, 33 trillion. Nobody knows the extent or the value of the natural wealth of the African continent. You know, nobody knows. And how do you put a value on the Congo River, for example?
Yes.
What value do you put on that? You know, what value do you put on the solar capacity of the Congo, which straddles the equator? For example, what value monetarily are you going to put on that, except to say it is vast, it is tremendous, it is unlimited. What it takes, what it needs, is for the minds of African people to align with the abundance of blessing that the Creator has bestowed upon us, and we need to reclaim that. Let me just say very quickly. What's his name? Neely Fuller, a great African thinker who passed away recently, talked about our recognition of the value of land. And land is always valuable to the security, the sovereignty, and the empowerment of a people. But he says that we don't speak enough about the need for us to reclaim our minds. He said, if we reclaim our land with the state of mind, I'm paraphrasing him, the state of mind that we are in as a people, he said the land would be of no use to us because we would still surrender the land to the enemy who controls our minds. It is our minds that we need to get right. It is our minds that we need to align with the blessing of the tremendous blessing of what the Creator has given us in terms of the wealth of the land of Mama Africa. It is our minds that we need to get right, first and foremost. And then that mind will direct us towards reclaiming the land and working together to make that land enhance the quality of our existence. Tendai Mwari.
Thank you so much, son.
You're more than welcome, my beloved brother.
You are muted, Mr. Shakara.
Sorry, give thanks, brother. Okay. Much appreciate it, brother. Yeah, just to say, we're going to wrap up the show now, brother Lena, but I just wanted to bring you back to the video that you played with brother Rotendo. And yeah, I'm really confused and bemused by...
Sorry about this, brother Shakara. Confused and bemused. 1 minute, yeah?
Yes. Okay. For a second. Yeah. All right. Brother Lena, back shortly. Yeah. We're wrapping up the show now, brothers and sisters. Just to remind you that we're engaging in part 2 next week. And so we're going to be here next week to engage in the follow-up to this particular conversation on Wednesday, the 19th of March. You can join us also on the 21st of March for our interview with Mama Baina Bello, a daughter of IET. Yes, indeed. A shout out to Sister Kenya and Sister ERA, who facilitated this interview as a part of the Ashe Collective. Yes, brothers and sisters. We also are releasing the presentation Omowale, Lumumba, and the makings of a revolution, brothers and sisters. Omowale and Lumumba, the makings of a revolution. Yes, brothers and sisters. Yeah, we're going to be in this presentation. We delve really into the history of the Congo crisis in the 1960s as we honor the work and the legacies of Papa Omowale Malcolm X and Papa Patrice Lumumba, brothers and sisters. Yeah, so do come through for that presentation, releasing this coming Sunday on the 16th of March, or Day Sunday, the 16th of March from 12 p.m. GMT, and you can situate your clocks anywhere else you are in the world from there, brothers and sisters. All right, so do stay tuned for more on that. We're just awaiting the return of Brother Leader. Oh, he's here. All right, brothers and sisters, so let's back into our conversation. Yes, Brother Leader, I was saying that I was confused and bemused by the indicators that and forgive me because I have not watched the entire interview with Brother Rotendo. I need, I needed to be in the right frame of mind to take it in. and I haven't achieved that yet, Brother Leader. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just haven't achieved it yet. But the things that he was saying, about how the attention to detail in the restaurant, and you know what I mean, and on the flowers them well arranged,
blooming, the aromatic,
yeah, you know what I mean,
waft of the roses, and the food tastes good.
No, but Brother Leader. And it occurred to me, Brother Leader, that we're starving as a people for
this
a
is
win.
A brother with a powerful mind, when you see his works.
So and I'm just saying I haven't watched the full interview because I want to be fair and say the brother may have applied more depth. The interview is very long, yeah. So I don't know in it, Brother Leader. There may be more depth. Yeah,
so, I know you well enough to know that you don't like disappointments. Yeah, so don't raise your hopes. Yeah.
Yeah, but but his argument is not too dissimilar from the arguments that we hear from everybody. Yeah. You got it, and it's like we're supposed to ignore the blatant neo-colonialism because Rwanda looks nice, it appears to be functioning, right? And it appears to be the case that you coming back to your analogy, about the dog and the bone and the hunter throwing us a bone. It seems to be the case that if we are going to put ourselves in that analysis, that the bone that they've thrown us is Rwanda.
Yeah.
And some of us are satisfied, with the bone.
The bone.
So that we're neglecting the meat. Because we're preoccupied with the bone.
Yeah.
So that they appear to have solved problems like plastic waste, which is a significant problem. I know you've been to Ghana, Brother Leader, and you know how Accra steer when it comes to the plastic. Yeah, it's a serious issue. So as I said to Brother Heru, I can imagine that if me go to Kigali and see where the plastic issue sort out, it's gonna have a big impact, right? Because we go places and we see that these issues are not sorted out, Brother Leader. I can cite songs from Fela Kuti from the 1960s and 70s where African nations have not solved the issue of waste disposal. And we're still dealing with that today. So it seems that we're starved of wins.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to see something functioning. And so within this neo-colonial era, they've given us what is seemingly a functioning democracy. and the seduction is hard to resist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so my question really is that what do you make of this level of analysis that we got there and we see things that, you know, the roads are and there's no whole heap of traffic. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, what is that? Is there not value in that, or should we not or is there things to learn, or I don't know. I don't even know what I'm asking at this point.
Of course, there's value in that, but that is not the be all and end all.
Right.
There is value in that. We want clean roads and you know the flowers. Blooming, you know the aromatic waft of the roses. We want all of that good stuff.
And detailing of the food and good food and all that.
You know, we want a clean and a thriving environment, physically comfortable and aesthetically pleasing environment to live in, to grow in, to develop in, to raise our children in, etc., etc. But there are other questions that we have to ask. If we are intelligent Pan-Afrikanists, what is the geopolitical context in which all of this is taking place? To what extent do we own our institutions? Do we own our natural resources? What is our relationship with our neighbors? What is Rwanda's relationship with the Congo, for example? That has to be factored into the analysis. If you're a Pan-Afrikanist, you believe in the unity of Africa and African people. And so if the Congo is antagonistic, if Rwanda is antagonistic in the Congo, we should be concerned about that. So, you know, we have to also ask to what extent is this an experiment that is controlled by foreign forces with a particular agenda and a particular objective, that suits their policy, that their international policy, their policy of globalization, for example. And one of the things that is clear is that they have created this this symbol of progress within the context of neocolonialism to send a message across the African continent that this is what success looks like.
This is the path to success.
This is the pathway to success. That you can succeed within the context of neocolonialism. This is the model.
And neoliberalism more specifically.
And neoliberalism. This is the model of success. And we confuse that now with liberation. Well, liberation is about ownership of what is yours. Liberation is about sovereignty. Having autonomy over your own land, over your own resources, over your own industries, over your own institutions. If you don't own all of that, if you don't have the capacity to generate wealth and income, if you don't have that capacity to generate assets that can serve your interests, assets that you own and control, then you are not liberated. You are dependent on an external force. That is not liberation. When has that ever constituted liberation? All the things that they are praising Kagame for. We saw that in the 1960s in Ghana. Ghana was a thriving African nation. But Ghana was infiltrated. Ghana was attacked. But the Osagyefun government was toppled. Why? Because Ghana's model of progress, Ghana's model of development was African-centered, was based on the principle of decolonizing Africa, African time, African space, controlling our natural resources, building in our own industries and controlling those industries, building our own institutions that preserves, promotes, and protects our own interest. And that's what they would not allow to happen. And I want to deal with this in
more detail next week.
More detail next week.
If I come next week, brothers and sisters, for more. Yeah, you know, so we'll get into that. We'll get into that and further questions, brothers and sisters, next week. Brother Leader, give thanks for your service this evening. We appreciate it. And we're going to engage in it more. We have to stand with our people in the Congo. And beyond that, brothers and sisters, we just have to expose neocolonialism wherever we see it. You know, and expose, burn all illusions. Yeah, burn all illusions. We need to go deeper into exactly how the governments and the propagandists of Bakra imperialism have constructed the Kagame image. There's a lot of people that believe that the BBC and the CNN are against Rwanda. nonsense argument, right? But they've actually constructed this image there deliberately, and so we need to delve deeper into how that was done, and we will be doing that progressively, brothers and sisters. You know, beyond just the issue of the Congo, the implications of Kagame being our model for quote unquote African development is dangerous. Yes, if you understand what is truly taking place there. So we have to burn the illusion. So, brother Leader, give thanks. And we will definitely reconvene next week. All right. With that, unless you got a last word, you can feel free to let yourself out.
Well, Tendai Mwari, I just want to give thanks to the Creator and the ancestors for making this evening possible. I want to bless you, Brother Shakara, for the work that you are doing, and all those who have been supporting the work. This series of focus on the Congo is absolutely vital for our people. The information that is unfolding throughout, you know, to the African world, the depth of insight and understanding that our people are being given on the realities affecting the Central African region. And one of the things I'm going to be doing next week is exploring the dynamics of the Central African region, not just the Congo, but looking at the history of the invasion of the Central African region and the implications of that for the African continent. It's one of the things I want to focus on next week. So, you know, give thanks and praises. Long may this work continue, beloved brothers and sisters. But we need to go back to our quarters and where we are in organizations to get even more serious and more busy in building those organizations, beloved brothers and sisters. And those of us who are not in organizations, we encourage you to join organizations or create organizations that undertake specific work for the liberation of our people. The talking is important. This is work. It's part of the work. But there's other work that needs to be done on the practical level that I urge our people to do. And just a sentence. I just want to mention the Pan-African People's Parliament, which is a recent development within Africa UK. And I just want to put the name out there for those of you who have not yet heard of the Pan-African People's Parliament, to listen out for programs and initiatives that will be undertaken under the auspices of the Pan-African People's Parliament, and urge you to be mobilized behind the vision and the work, because it is a serious mission, beloved brothers and sisters, that is in sight. So I close again with the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey: unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Rumbitso kuna mwari Africa. To the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, give thanks, brother leader, and we'll see you next week.
Tendai Mwari.
All right, brothers and sisters, that was brother leader Mbandaka. Once again, join us again next week for part 2 on Ojama Day, Wednesday, the 19th of March. Ojama Day, Wednesday, the 19th of March. Do come through. And yeah, we look forward to engaging more. Right, brothers and sisters. You know, I'm thinking, Sister Unduku, yeah, we got to bring you through for a live Kiswahili lesson. Kiobuntu. Excuse me. We've got to bring you through for a live Kiobuntu lesson. I'm sure brothers and sisters will appreciate a live a Pan-African Kiobuntu lesson. Yeah, we're not teaching Kiobuntu, but we're going to teach it with a specifically Pan-African context. Yeah, so I might just have to invite you to do a live Kiobuntu teaching language session. You know what I mean? That would be a beautiful thing. Brothers and sisters, we say onto the reminder of the Omawale Malcolm X Centennial Observance coming up on the 17th of May. When I will share with you the proper flyer for all of that. Mama Baina Bello will be joining us on the 21st, brothers and sisters, of March. We have Omawale and Lumumba, the makings of a revolution, on the 16th of March, brothers and sisters, and our follow-up conversation with Brother Heru is taking place on of April. I'll show you the flyer for that in future shows. Yeah, but in that conversation, we'll be looking at whether Paul Kagame is a Pan-Afrikanist or a neo-colonial leader, and we'll be delving into the deeper elements of the conversation that we had just the other day. Okay, with that, I say unto thee, Tendai Mwari, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe, Kozai Muzimu Mukulu. We give praises unto our great ancestors, Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African people. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.